7.4% APR. Go to MohawkValleyFCU.org for more info and to apply today. Mohawk Valley FCU. Member focused, member driven.
Are you in the market for a vehicle? A vehicle that's like new but don't want to break the bank? Look no further than GM certified pre-owned vehicles at Steet Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer. With rates as low as 1.9% on select models, you can find new roads without the high price tag. Check out the 2022 Silverado Crew Cab 4x4 with only 3,000 miles, or the 2022 Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive with rates as low as 2.49%. And with a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and an additional 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty, you can drive with confidence knowing your vehicle is covered. So why wait? Visit us online anytime at SteetPawneeChevy.com to browse our complete inventory and take advantage of these amazing deals. This inventory won't last long. Steet Pawnee Chevrolet on Route 28 in Herkimer. See why it's always easy to do business at Steet Pawnee Chevrolet, your family-owned and operated dealership.
If you're in the market for a new mattress, no one in New York State has all the brands under one roof that your brand name Superstore Mattress Express has. Names like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy Hybrid, Purple, Puffy, the Number Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish, and more. Check out these Memorial Day deals. Any King or Queen, Tempur-Pedic, or select Stearns & Foster with adjustable base, take your pick. A giant 58-inch flat screen TV or a $300 in free bedding accessories. How about this? Any king or queen set in the store, $9.99 or higher, other than Tempur-Pedic, get a free adjustable base upgrade. A free adjustable base upgrade. How about the Number Bed by Instant Comfort? We have the Flex Set in king or queen, an industry-leading 25-year warranty. 5 years, no interest, no money down for qualified buyers. Then take your pick. A giant 65-inch flat screen TV, $500 prepaid gas card, or stainless steel gas grill. Go to MattressExpressNY.com or call 1-800-NEW-BEDS.
Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Tell you, every year my wife gets very, very angry because I have to bring, and I've trimmed it down. It used to be we had 4 or 5, I think it was 5 indoor plants that went out in the summertime that had to come in the wintertime. And so, I'm putting them all over the house. She's trying, but we just, in this house, we don't have the room, so I've scaled it down to 2. 2 plants. One that dates back, are you ready for this? Dates back about 60 years. A plant that's older than I am. And it is, I don't even know what it's called. But it's just there's no flowering on it. It's one of those, it's a green plant that gets bushy and gets really, really big, and I have to trim it back. But it was our neighbor's, and it was her mother's. So every time I see Dolly Baylor from my history, from my childhood, she says, "How's that plant doing?" And I bring it in every year. The other one is one that dates back to when we first moved to Ilion, my wife and I, back in 1999. and it's a tropical, one of those big tropical type trees. And at one point it was like almost 12 feet high. We couldn't fit in the house. So I've trimmed that way back, and now it's fuller as opposed to taller. Anyway, this one dates back about 25 years. Both of them were put outside last weekend. And last night, we got if you're checking this morning, we got a bad frost.
Yeah, we did. My windshield was frozen this morning. Go ahead. You lost them both? Did you look?
No, I covered them last night.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
They're all covered up. But it gets a little hard. Like, I had my daughter out there with me. We're on a ladder. We're putting a blanket over top of the one because it's pretty up there. But meanwhile, I think secretly, though, my wife was like, God, I hope the frost finally takes these plants out. That'll be the end of them. Because what happens, you take them outside and they begin to, they're free to grow and continue to grow. And by October, it's tough to get them back in. Oh, great. The plants are coming in.
I'm sure they do bring some bugs with them, which can be frustrating.
I kind of deal with that with a little bit of, just a little bit of natural pesticide.
Nice.
Because otherwise you bring crap in. You don't want
Yeah. So I stopped to see my mother
Stink
yesterday
bugs.
afternoon. She was doing that. She was wrapping stuff that she
Gotta
had
wrap
outside.
them. Yeah, you got to wrap them up. Otherwise, you're screwed.
She said to me, "Can you believe it?" I said, "No. Yeah, what are you going to do?"
It's the great Mother's Day frost. We'll be talking about it next year. Remember last year when it's nothing, right? It's going to be back into the mid-60s today, almost 80 tomorrow. This is weird weather. Okay, so we have Mike Hennessy today. And here's the word. I believe he lost his court battle, his challenge. Can you believe the Constitutional Caucus with 2 major losses in 24 hours? Because they blew it. They're the ones that blew it for him. They're the ones that blew it. It was their horrible signatures. I'm going to tell you something. I know people that have seen the signatures. It was a debacle.
Really?
And you know what? There are a percentage that, I can't believe he'd do that. No. Listen, a kindergartner could do a better job. It was awful. These people should be ashamed. Hennessy should be able to get on the ballot. Well, they're taking away the people's right to vote. No, you took that away. By, in some cases, people signing multiple petitions. What in the hell's wrong with you people? Well, listen. Maybe I should treat them nicer so they'll come on the air and I can blow them up once they get in here. Terrible. Jim Zecca, you should know better. Think of the petitions Zecca has challenged over the years.
Well, so let me ask you.
He's the big, remember all those days when he'd be in court challenging somebody's signatures and they'd be challenging his, the good old days of the Utica Common Council. I mean, he of all people knows how to collect signatures. He should know better.
So
awful.
He's on the ballot this year.
I believe he is. Yeah.
So I get
he's running against
Tim Julian.
That's going to be something.
Did his signatures not get challenged? Because I typically this is my understanding.
You need much less though for the legislature.
That's true. That's true.
I would think.
I was just thinking to myself.
You're one of many legislators where Tony Pacini represents the entire county, the county executive position,
I think
which
you're
is
right.
what Hennessy was going after.
But if Jim was carrying for Mike, right, he would probably just say, "Hey, sign mine too." I would assume there would be.
There are a lot of cross signatures going on. There's a lot of that because you're dealing with an Oneida County position. But I'm just saying the problem is, I mean, there are people who really worked hard for Mike Hennessy to get him on the ballot, and people who collected signatures and did it the right way. It's their efforts that were blown up by these people that were out willy-nilly grabbing signatures from whatever. In some cases, you can tell, like the same person signed multiple signatures. You can just tell by the handwriting. I mean, it's so bad.
When we spoke to, I want to say the county executive last week and Mike Hennessy, they had both kind of said it was around 15 signatures. It was a small number. So there was a court appearance yesterday.
The argument cannot be, this isn't fair. the system is bad. That can't be the argument. The argument has to be these signatures are okay. And apparently the court felt otherwise.
So does he have any recourse from here?
I don't know. We'll talk to Mike today. I feel bad for the guy. We'll talk to him today. I mean, I'm only saying the process. I feel like he was at a very difficult uphill climb to beat Tony Faceni. Like what Hobica said yesterday.
Yeah.
Best county executive this area has ever, Oneida County has ever had. That's what Hobica said, and I've heard other people say the same thing. You're fighting that battle where people are looking at the area saying, and Faceni's saying, listen, look here. Look around. Are you better off? Are you better off today than you were when I started? And it's significant. You are significantly better off. So where do we go from here? We'll find out from Mike. But still, the American process. You want it to move forward. You want people to be able to have their day in the public's eye, to be able to say, vote for me. And I'm not sure. Maybe he can appeal again. I don't know. But this appeal has, I believe, has been rejected.
Right. Well, I know they appeared, I believe, before the County Board of Elections last week, and then yesterday was a court appearance. So I don't. We'll talk to Mike coming up later this morning and see if he's got another avenue to appeal and hear.
Time's ticking, though. You got to move.
Yeah, be able to hear what the ruling was yesterday. I mean, I understand what the ruling was, but what were the reasons given for not being able to change any minds on the signatures that had been acquired? Or, well, we'll talk to Mike.
Mike, a 60-year-old plant, is it plastic? Listen, I don't know how I've kept this. I can't keep anything going. Can't keep anything alive. But somehow these plants, I've been able to do it. I don't know how. Ryan Schmel's coming up in a bit. We'll get the latest from the border, the southern border. By the way, I had a lot of people coming up to me yesterday saying that Devin had a historic day yesterday doing sports. I don't mean to bring it back up. I'm kidding. They said your day was terrible, Devin.
Thank you.
Oneida County DA Scott McNamara is on today, and we'll talk about that tragic case of the young lady from Quite by way of Little Falls who sadly was found in the road back in November and died from whatever happened. I guess we don't know. Maybe Scott can give us a little insight as to what happened. But a young man has been indicted by an Oneida County grand jury in regards to that. And the charge is basically leaving the scene, right? Leaving the scene without reporting.
Ultimately, she was found badly injured. Of course, we had talked about this on the air. There was a question as to what happened and how she wound up in that state.
I don't want to jump to any conclusions on this because we don't know. And
we don't know. But the what they're saying is that at some point he
should have called. So I guess if you read into the wording, do you have that indictment right there?
Just give me 1 second.
Because I think if you read into the wording, there are things that I guess we can ultimately conclude, and I have it here. And then if you go back to what we learned from Scott McNamara back in December, we had him on the air and we talked about this very situation. So the indictment reads, or the release from the New Hartford Police Department, man indicted by grand jury in connection with November 22 death of Martha Staring. On November 30th at 10 p.m., the Oneida County 911 Center received a call from a passerby traveling on Elm Street in the town of New Hartford, which is over near Sequoia, right?
Yeah.
I believe it is, where an injured female was lying in the roadway on Elm Street in the vicinity of Brooks Lane. The New Hartford PD, along with the Willowville Fire Company and Edwards Ambulance, dispatched to the area to locate the female. Unfortunately, the female was later identified as 30-year-old Martha Staring, died as a result. So as a result of what happened, do we know what happened? At some point, it's believed, based on the conversation we had with the district attorney in December, that she was with a male at the hockey game. The two of them left in a truck, and at some point, she ended up out in the middle of the road. Investigators with New Hartford PD, with the assistance of the DA's district attorney's office, continued to investigate since back then. On May 11th, last week, Alexander Klus, age 30, of Sequoia, was indicted by an Oneida County grand jury on one count. And here's where I guess we can read into it, and we'll talk to Scott. One count of leaving the scene of an incident without reporting, where Staring succumbed to her injuries. It is a Class D felony, which so there's no there's not a lot there, but in the way it is written to me, kind of is somewhat meaningful. One count of leaving the scene of an incident without reporting, where Staring succumbed to her injuries. So that's kind of telling you, right? I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it's telling you that at some point he was at the scene where she was. He left the scene and did not report it, and she was found with severe injuries lying in the middle of the road, and she passed away. So it makes you feel like he must have, I mean, for this charge, he would have to know that, I would think that she was injured, right?
I guess allegedly, right?
Because
Otherwise,
thinking,
what would be in trouble for not reporting?
What? That's exactly right. And you ask the question, who would leave someone injured out in the middle of nowhere? Maybe it's more residential than out in the middle of nowhere, but who would leave someone just there, whether she at the time was lying in the road or, it's also possible that she was hit by a car. We don't know what happened, but maybe we know more, and we'll learn more this morning from the DA. But that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, no, it's a really horrible story, and of course it was right at the end of November, right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's an awful story.
So as I said, we'll speak with Scott McNamara, Oneida County DA. After that, John Decker is live in Hiroshima for the G7, and man, I've seen some of the photos over there. He's all over the place, and he'll be on the radio coming up at about 8:50 this morning. And here we are. Last night, by the way, did you know that Pete Alonso broke a New York Mets record last night? He is now tied for the most ever. What are you? Whoa. Not only did I see you roll your eyes, Davey, but you did the old, what do you call this? What is this called? Yeah, like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, you get away. Give me a break. That's Davey. Are you jealous of Pete Alonso? I know the Yankees lost yesterday, but they're still in better shape than the Mets.
Yeah, I'm not jealous of Pete Alonso.
Well, you're just the Mets, or you're like, here he goes again, talking about the Mets?
No.
Okay, I don't know what that meant. I mean, I saw it first with the roll of the eye, and then whatever that is.
And can I just say, Pete Alonso's big home run last night, he wasn't awkwardly peeking to the side and into the dugout before he hit that home run. Did you see that with Judge the other day? They're playing the Blue Jays.
What was that? Yeah.
I've been a real pro Aaron Judge guy. That looked really fishy to me. Very suspicious. Why he would be looking over that way right before the pitch comes in. Several pitches in a row. It was
He kept looking almost as if someone was tipping him off.
Yeah, like he's looking for a sign or a signal. I don't know. It was so much so that he was looking down and back for location. But again, you look at his other at-bats, other home runs he's hit, other at-bats this season. That's not like something he's like looking to the side and then he sets his eyes and he looks back to glimpse the ball or something.
Yeah. Something fishy. It looked fishy.
I don't know what he could be looking at.
Yeah.
Again, it wasn't like maybe someone in the stands stood up quick or they had a bright shirt that caught his attention or somebody yelled. It was before several pitches in a row the other night in Toronto. So, and I think he had 2 home runs. Again, I'm not associating them, but the Toronto Blue Jays broadcasters, if you listen to them, they go, what is he looking at there? What? And then he crushes the ball, and I forget what the broadcaster said. He just, as soon as Judge hit the ball, he crushed. He goes, crushed. You know, they were just kind of sour with the fact
that's interesting. So the record that is Davey is clearly bothered by in there. The record is the most tied now for the most walk-off home runs for the New York Mets.
Alonso.
Hey, we have to have something to hang our hats on, right?
He's had a great year. I mean, at least home run wise, he's certainly had a lot of big hits.
Well, here's the question: which Major League Baseball player has the most home runs so far in 2023?
It's him, right? Was he up
Pete
16?
Alonso. It's
15?
Pete Alonso. Yeah.
So
that's Major League. It's not just the National League.
15 homers, 36 RBIs, and somehow.
And I don't think Judge, by the way, is in the top 5. To be honest with you, what I'm looking at right here, he's not, according to ESPN. Alonso right now has 15 home runs. Where is Judge in there? I don't know how many he has right now. I'm looking, and he is, let's see, where is Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge
11.
has 11. So, listen, you can't take anything from either one of them. But I'm going to tell you, both of them, I'd have to give them some credit because they're both playing on teams right now that are struggling.
Yeah.
And you know how that kind of it's contagious, right?
Yeah.
Depressing. It's contagious. You keep losing.
You know, the Mets, again, they got help from the young bats last night. A couple of guys called up from Syracuse were the ones with the big home runs, and then Alonso, of course, the walk-off homer. But that's exciting. I'm glad at least they were showing fight that late in the game because, like I mentioned to you, I was kind of monitoring the box score. I was up and kind of had it on in the background, and I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Here we go
After
again.
we tied the game, we
Yeah.
immediately gave the lead back up again.
So there is a Yankee story, and I'm not sure Davey's having a conversation in there.
Hold on a second.
Hold on. Yeah, tell him to hold on, Davey. Stop the Davey show. Listen, did you see the thing that happened last night with the Yankees?
To tell you the truth, I didn't watch any Yankees or Mets games last night. I specifically watched wrestling from 8 until 10. I
Okay.
fell asleep at 9:15, and I was out of the world, so I don't even know what happened.
You don't know. Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm here to tell you. Chatter between the two teams on the field, commonplace, right?
Yeah, they've been having some riffs since Monday night.
Playing
when
Toronto
Aaron
right now.
Judge looked into the dugout.
Well, that we know about. Yeah, but Tuesday night, so the manager, Blue Jays manager John Schneider, hurled a dig at the Yankees Tuesday night. The two clubs got into a shouting match about coaches standing in the correct spot on the field, prompting a brief stoppage in play as umpires sorted things out. But amidst all of this, the heated dialogue, Schneider shouted towards the Yankees dugout and told, he looked in and he said, "Shut up, fat boy." Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. He was the third base coach for the Yankees, Carlos Rojas, the former Mets manager, was exchanging some things with
Well,
Schneider.
it looks like he was talking about hitting coach Brad Wilkerson. And he's like, "You shut up, fat boy."
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know that you can say that today. Even in baseball, even in sports.
right.
You know, we're a woke society, Davey. You don't call somebody fat. But that's getting a little bit of play. All right, go back to what's on your show this morning.
Nobody.
No, you sure? You look like something's going down.
Nope.
Got some action in there, Davey. Yeah. So that's what happened with the Yankees this week. Okay, what else do I have here this morning that's pretty good? I don't know where Manansky is, but I got to talk to him about this. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were followed by the paparazzi in New York City in what was called a relentless pursuit that people are now comparing to the chase that led to Princess Diana's death. Here is New York City Mayor Eric Adams slamming the paparazzi for the chase. Here is audio. Coming up.
This is a densely populated city. I think all of us, I don't think there's many of us who don't recall how his mom died, and it would be horrific to lose an innocent bystander during a chase like this and something to have happened to them as well. So I think we have to be extremely responsible.
Okay. Devin, I don't know. Where did Jeff go?
I'm not too sure.
Okay. What's that, Davey?
He went to the bathroom.
To the bathroom. Okay. These things happen to us. Sometimes we have to go. I swear to God, I could create a reality TV show in this place. I was sitting in a meeting yesterday just looking around like, oh, my God, this is like the radio version of The Office. You were there yesterday.
Yeah, I was.
Looking around, I'm like, we could do, which one is like Michael Scott? I wonder which one. Anyway, did you see any of this yesterday?
No, I didn't, but it's really unfortunate to hear that that's happening to them because
Bull crap.
obviously they left the royal family and everything.
I understand, but it's all garbage. I'm telling you, this is all made up. It's being pushed. I believe this. It's being pushed by Meghan Markle's press team that they were driving, they were running from the paparazzi in a vehicle, got into a cab. The police had to be called in to help. Finally, they were able to get away. They were speeding through the city, trying to get away from the paparazzi, and none of that is true. Even the cab driver said, well, I wouldn't. So here they are. They're running with this narrative, and the cab driver's like, well, I wouldn't describe it as a high-speed chase. I was just driving, and it looked like they were following us.
Well, I mean, it's New York City. You can't really go
That's
too fast.
the point.
Too far.
You got all this traffic. You're not going to be able to go. You're not going to be able to whip around very quickly. You know, maybe back during COVID when the streets were empty, but the streets aren't empty anymore. And they have complete streets down there. Everything's all clogged up. You can't get anywhere. So even the cab driver is saying, I don't think it was as bad as you guys are describing it. But let me tell you something. Meghan Markle's team is trying to, a woe is me, creating a sympathy right now because, everybody kind of hates the two of them. I think she's trying to get sympathy. I don't think any of this is true. It's all BS. You watch. It'll come out because people are they're going to figure it out sooner or later. But when the cab driver who was driving the car says it wasn't that bad, but, they were following us, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, that is something I think we all have to kind of just, you okay? Did you hear this Meghan Markle thing?
No.
Okay, I'm not even going to get into it with you, but I think when you read about it today, I do think it's all completely BS. Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem are one of the greatest fake brands of all times, and those Muppets have now made it into and onto the Billboard charts. The Disney Plus show, Muppets Mayhem soundtrack, debuted at number 13 on the Billboard Kid Album chart. I don't know if you knew there was such a thing. There's actually a kids chart. Here's their version of Rock and Roll All Night on the soundtrack. Here we go. That's actually the Muppets. And they have that new series coming out. It's going to be a big deal. It's mainly for kids, but there are a lot of adults that love the Muppets. Davey is one of those, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Davey is a. Remember that time the WWF did the Muppet version of professional wrestling, and the Muppets were all in there and they were fighting and all that. Wasn't that cool?
Sure was.
I don't think that ever happened, but it'd be a cool idea, wouldn't it? They should do it.
Well, they're just finger puppets, right?
I think so. Yeah. TBS is bringing back. Are you ready? The Joe Schmo Show.
Matlock.
The Joe Schmo Show, a fake reality show. Yeah, where all the contestants are actors except for one who's kind of the butt of the joke. This is really like the jury
duty.
Jury duty. And have you been watching any of that?
No, I have not.
She's from, one of the actors in there is from Utica, and it is a funny, funny show.
Everybody tells me good things about it. I've got to sit down and actually, I can't commit to watch multiple episodes back to back. I need to sit down when there's not a sporting game on and actually commit to watching something that's not a sporting event.
It'll take your mind off the world. Here's some of the teaser breaking down the concept of the Joe Schmo Show. Here we go.
You will spend the next 10 days competing in television's most outrageous competition show. Anything can happen. In fact, something just did. What? And the contestants are all actors except Ben.
It's such a cruel joke.
Welcome to the Joe Schmo Show.
It's called the Joe Schmo Show, and it's on TBS.
And apparently they couldn't find a voiceover artist from the States.
I do feel like they go down this road where they go after a British, like the weakest link. They always want But there's not a British weakest link. What did you say, Davey? Go ahead.
I was just saying, you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's right. There he goes.
The
Davey's
accent
on fire today.
provides some level of authority, right, or distinction for the show.
I guess so. Wayne says, eyesore. The look is called inside the. You know what? When does this come down? He brings up a great point. He's showing the picture of Brett Truitt's building with the No Hospital Downtown sign still draped across. I was riding with somebody from out of town. It was Kid Chris who was in town, and we were driving by that, and he said, "What is that? No Hospital, that big sign. What is that?" I'm like, "Oh boy, could I tell you? It almost seems like it was years and years and years ago."
I actually,
it's like a remnant. I feel like it's an antique now.
Yeah, and you've seen pictures from what, the 40s or 50s or 60s of the busy corner in Utica and what Genesee Street looked like. I just think 50 years from now they're going to take a couple photos or photos that exist of downtown Utica. You're going to see that hashtag in the background. And I just
you might. Yeah.
I just am intrigued. I find interest in the, that sign says so much for where we were as a community at that time and the ongoing dispute. And obviously, when that was going on, there wasn't a Nexus Center, there wasn't a downtown hospital. It's kind of like how it was before everything changed.
Yeah. Mike says Alonso checking for signs. Maybe he's preparing to go to the Astros next year. Well, actually, it was Judge that was checking the signs, right, or doing something, looking out of the corner of his eye. Rather than calling him Fat Boy in today's woke society, he should have said, "Hey, are you the next person that's going to dance in the Jardiance commercial?" Jardiance commercial. Do you ever see that? Yeah, over and over again. That's funny. And that was the Fat Boy comment. That's I don't know if you saw that. It came from the Yankees. 5 people pleaded guilty in Florida. This is a great story, including New Yorkers. They had set up a fake nursing diploma scheme where people were getting fake nursing diplomas. A total of 25 people were charged earlier this year in a scam that sold more than 7,600 fraudulent nursing degree diplomas from 3 Florida-based nursing schools. The schools involved Siena College, Palm Beach School of Nursing, and Sacred Heart International Institute are now all closed down there. And you'd pay like $15,000 and you get the documents, and all of a sudden you're a nurse. It's kind of like getting a fake driver's license, the fake IDs.
$15,000, wow.
And there were New Yorkers arrested in that whole fake diploma thing as well down in Florida. The Biden administration officials are holding a briefing on the border, and Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio has an update for us. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Well, I guess I'm going to ask you, we're way up here in New York. Should we be ready for the big busloads of migrants coming up here? Are they going to be shipped up here? Or is it looking better, or are they just being dispersed into the country? What do we know?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of concerns surrounding that. Now, one thing that the administration is now starting to roll out is that they're really going to have this big focus on messaging, and that's because you've had a lot of smugglers, based off what the administration has said, that have been giving disinformation to a lot of the migrants who are trying to cross into the country, pretty much telling them that they can cross illegally and that there will be no consequences. So the administration is starting to put out these videos that show Border Patrol agents pretty much sending migrants back to their home country and showing migrants being, dropped off at different airports since they crossed into the country illegally, I should say. So they're trying to hope that these new initiatives will encourage people to use legal pathways to cross rather than the illegal ones.
Mm. Wasn't it Kilmeade who had somebody on her? Somebody was the former Homeland Security director, who I guess was under maybe Obama. Maybe Manasseh, you had this story. He was saying Biden needs to get the message out. If you come here illegally, you will be sent home. He needs to say it once, twice, over and over and over again until people start to hear this as they're coming in. And that's kind of like they seem to finally, Ryan, be getting the message.
Well, and that's something critics have been saying for so long. So, I mean, that interview kind of matches what we've been talking about, which is that, the administration now feels like they need to get that message across quite substantially and working with Mexico to get that message across because, the United States has been in close partnership with the Mexican government since Title 42's ending was approaching. And certainly they want to get that message out there and make sure that migrants, like you just said, know that they can't cross into the United States illegally or they will be sent home.
You know, you remember the story during Trump? Because sometimes I feel like we could all get together every morning in the 6 o'clock hour like we are right now, and we could do a better job at determining the decisions that are made. So if you remember when Trump would call Hannity, and they'd go back and forth about different policy things, this all leaked out at some point. Biden could be calling us. We'd all get on the phone here, all get ready to go, and be like, hey, this could be back in like January, February. This is going to be coming up. Why don't you start getting the message out now? And then Biden would say, that's a good idea. And then, we'd have solved this whole problem, Ryan. I feel like we could do a better job.
And this certainly goes back to, the criticism that the president gets for not holding any press conferences. Certainly he can have, Karine Jean-Pierre can come out and regurgitate that message that the border's not open. Mayorkas can have his fair share of press briefings. And the Pentagon does press briefing at least once a week. So certainly there's avenues for them to get out there and say that. Now, whether or not the message is getting across well enough, that kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah. Boy, it just seems like, and I know there's a lot going on in the world, but it just seems like this was a no-brainer here. So, all right, well, let's see what comes of all of it. But and then one more thing, Ryan, we're being told it's not as bad as it was expected to be, and actually the number of people crossing are actually down since this whole thing expired. Though? I get that, but it is decreased, is what the message they're sending.
Yeah. The DHS Secretary Mayorkas did say that they saw a 50% decrease, but then you also have Republicans coming out and saying, well, just look into the streets. It clearly doesn't look like that this situation's under control. And also keep in mind that we had a massive surge ahead of the ending of Title 42, and then ultimately when Title 42 came to an end, that's when you saw that decrease. So you could potentially make the argument that the surge happened ahead of Title 42's lifting as people were expecting it to end.
Yeah. All right, interesting. Ryan Schmelz, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Have a great day. Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio. Bill says, here's an idea for our stupid blanking leaders, close the blanking border.
Pretty simple.
It does seem pretty simple, doesn't it? Wow. All right, what else do we have? In the next hour, we'll do Hobeika's free money question of the day. Heard a lot of comments about Joe's appearance on the program yesterday. Apparently, I learned don't bring up workman's comp to him because he flips out over it. So I won't bring that up again.
Major win for he and Cooper. I mean, it wasn't even close. I think they got give or take 4.5, 5 times what the third highest vote getter got.
And I know it's now a day, a full 24 hours after we went through all of this, but it does for everybody. And I spoke with a few people that had the same feeling as we did going into this. It's like you didn't have any faith. Like I'm worried that people aren't going, no matter how much we've been talking about it. Now, how much has been in the news, no matter how much audio you've heard, I fear that people aren't going to get out and they're not going to get out and vote. And they did. And when I walked in the studio yesterday morning, you looked at me and said, do you remember what you said?
There's some faith or
There's
hope.
Yeah. I think there might just be hope in the world because that was a landslide victory. As it should have been, right? As you hope it would be. That, you know what, we're not going to tolerate this crap anymore. But you know what? Mashal, how many times are we going to have these victories? Mashal went through the same thing, attacked by the Constitutional Caucus. And he won by, every time I say it's higher, he won by 110% of the vote. It was unbelievable. No, but he won by over 80% of the vote. And Paseni's facing, and his opponent's not even going to get on the ballot, it looks like. Maybe he will. We'll find out from Hennessy. Jackie Izzo, they're supporting that candidate. It's almost as if the Constitutional Caucus just wants to upend every politician. The only one they don't go after, every leader, every person that's been a part of really this big resurgence that we are experiencing. Like it or not, we're living a big resurgence here. The only one they don't go after is Griffo. You ever notice that?
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, Griffo has a strong approval rating. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't go after Joe Griffo. But they're going after everybody else. And now even Seca going after Tim Julian. That'll be interesting.
For a county seat on the county ledge. So Julian's still the minority leader, right? I believe he is.
Yeah.
So
okay, I got a break. We have news coming up, top of the hour. Much to get to next hour. We'll start things off with Evan Brown. What is that topic this morning?
AI.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
They're taking it up on the Capitol. Also, did you know an Oneida County district has kind of, this was part of the vote on Tuesday, has chosen what its name will be after the
School
Indians'
district.
mascot and moniker are gone.
They've chosen the name. It's Is it Waterville that
Yes.
did? Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that coming up next hour. And, all these schools are going to have to do it unless they, I believe, get some special permission from a neighboring Native American tribe. I believe that's how it's been worded. Also, Scott McNamara coming up next hour in Hobucka's Free Money Question of the Day on WIBX.
I can't take this kitchen any longer. Carl, we need to start looking for a new house.
Honey, you know the housing market is tight. It's going to be next to impossible to find something that we like.
I know, but this kitchen has to go.
Hey, what about a home equity loan from Adirondack Bank? We can turn the equity from our home into cash to renovate, just the way you want.
Renovate?
Adirondack Bank has competitive rates, and they've been a trusted community bank for decades.
A new kitchen. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Then, of course, we would need new furniture, and we could repair the deck, even add a pool, and take that trip to Italy that we've always talked about.
Whoa, slow down, honey. Let's go talk to the experts at Adirondack Bank about that home equity loan. Then we can decide where to start.
I've always wanted to add on a craft room, and our bathroom needs a facelift.
Don't move. Improve. Stop into your local Adirondack Bank branch for more information on a home equity loan or visit AdirondackBank.com. Bank local with Adirondack Bank, your hometown community bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
River Hills Properties remains the fastest growing real estate company in Central New York. This is Bill Keeler. When my wife and I decided we were selling our home, we chose River Hills Properties for several reasons. One of them because the listing agent is there every time we show the house. That made all the difference in the world. The book, 30 to 100 pages filled with everything about the house, from the furnace, the warranties, everything was there. If you're looking to sell your home, contact Bill and Robin Monjo at River Hills Properties. Nobody sells homes like River Hills. Bonneville, Utica, and Little Falls.
WIBX 950 Utica, Rome. W295DI Utica, Rome.
Russia goes on the attack in Ukraine again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but Ukraine says it shot down all but one of 30 missiles in the latest barrage. The one that hit was in Odessa, where at least one person was killed. Russia's war in Ukraine, a big topic of the G7 summit in Japan.
The bottom line, Mr. Prime Minister, is that when our countries stand together, we stand stronger.
President Biden and Japan's Prime Minister met first.
Now, on Ukraine, the leaders are expected to talk about how to close sanctioned loopholes. And the world leaders will develop a fundamental principle also on how they uniformly deal with China.
Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence in Hiroshima, Japan. Speaking of China, Republicans have put a focus again on COVID origins, with a new report released by GOP Senator Marco Rubio adding to other allegations the virus leaked out of a lab in Wuhan in 2019, where months before anyone had heard of COVID, he tells Fox.
They had a drill at one of their airports where they specifically said, we are drilling against a novel COVID pandemic, coronavirus.
The Biden administration insists it's not definitive that COVID leaked out of a lab. Another concern about China, it could be manipulating content on TikTok and vacuuming up users' information and phone data. So Montana is the first state to ban the social media app, not just on government-issued devices like many states have done. This is a ban on TikTok for everyone there. George Santos, who admits he lied about his past during his House campaign in New York, is still in Congress.
I was elected by them to come represent them. I will continue to do that. I have not done my job since I've gotten here.
And as the Republican talked to reporters, saying he's not been convicted of anything yet, Democratic Congressman Jamal Bowman shouted,
Gotta go, man, come on!
Democrats tried to kick Santos out of the House with a resolution, but it failed and was sent to the House Ethics Committee. Santos has pleaded not guilty to 13 criminal charges, including lying to Congress and fraud, accused of spending campaign money on himself. America's listening to Fox News.
The internet can be an all-you-can-eat buffet for identity thieves.
So full.
Too many maiden names.
And social security numbers.
Where'd you find those?
By the password bar. Can't miss them.
LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss by monitoring your credit and bank statements. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation's Let Us Do Good Village in Land O'Lakes, Florida, is a community that will have about 100 homes for the foundation's program participants. 2 families have already moved in. A Gold Star family and the family of a severely injured veteran moved into the community's first smart home. It's a special place where together families can heal. Make the Let Us Do Good Village the first of many communities like it. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
We have mostly clear skies and a chilly start here this morning. There was some frost on the vehicle as I got out this morning, and you may still have some as well.
It's a plant killer. It's a plant killer out there this morning.
36 degrees. WIBX news time is 7:03. Looking forward to a high temp this afternoon in the mid-60s. A full look at your forecast is coming up in just a few minutes. Well, Bill, I mentioned this at the end of the hour after putting the question to voters on Tuesday. The Waterville Central School District's moniker and mascot is one of many school districts with Native American associated names. Voters in the Waterville District were given 4 options this week as replacements for the longstanding Indian school name and mascot. Voters decided on eagles, choosing the birds over huskies, wolves, and wildcats. The move follows a mandate from the state education department in an effort to end the use of Native American mascots as soon as practical. Districts have until the end of the 2024-25 school year to fully phase out those mascots, team names, and logos. More information on our website at WIBX950.com. The city of Utica has cut the ribbon on a brand new state-of-the-art and custom-designed playground at one of its most well-known parks. The new and larger setup can be found at the west end of T.R. Proctor Park that sits along Culver Ave and Welsh Bush Road. It includes many of the typical features you find in a children's play park: slides, swings, bridges, and ramps. This one is fully accessible. Funding for it came from the American Rescue Plan Act and a community development block grant. Photos on our website at WIBX950.com. The operator of the limousine involved in a deadly crash in Schoharie back in 2018 convicted yesterday on a charge of manslaughter. A jury handed down its verdict against Noman Hussein, ending a trial that lasted nearly 3 weeks. Prosecutors say he did not make sure the vehicle was properly maintained ahead of that tragedy that resulted in 20 deaths. His attorney countered by claiming an auto shop had a role in the accident because it did not properly complete his requested repairs. Hussein is now facing prison time. He is due to be sentenced on May 31st. And it looks like the Albany Empire may be on the verge of adding one of the top wide receivers in NFL history. According to multiple reports, Antonio Brown, the former NFL wide receiver, who is the majority owner of the National Arena League franchise, might take the field when the Empire hosts the Fayetteville Mustangs next Saturday. There are currently no rules that prohibit owners from playing for their team. During his 11-year NFL career, Brown had over 12,000 receiving yards and more than 80 touchdown passes. WIBX News Time is 7:06. Your forecast comes to you from Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint to the WIBX Weather Center today. Cold early, widespread frost, then milder and sunny. Turns very pleasant in the afternoon. Light winds near 65. Tonight, not as cold, mainly clear sky, near 45. And tomorrow, mostly to partly sunny, turning breezy, warmer again with increasing clouds late day, high 78. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Sunshine and 36 at 7:07.
All right, here we go with sports. Our man Devin this morning, and it was a big night, Devin, for hopefully this is just the beginning of many for the New York Mets.
Yeah. The Mets snapped their 2-game skid with an 8-7 walk-off win over the Tampa Bay Rays at Citi Field. Mark Vientos got the Mets on the board with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Francisco Alvarez tied the game with a 3-run shot in the bottom of the 9th, and Pete Alonso won the game with a 3-run blast in the 10th inning. David Robinson earned his first win of the season after allowing 2 runs, one of them earned over an inning of relief. New York hopes to win the series when it hosts Tampa Bay in the rubber match this afternoon in Flushing. The Yankees were unable to extend their winning streak to 3 games after being shut out 3-0 by the Blue Jays in Toronto. Chris Bassett started the game for the Jays and struck out 7 batters without allowing a run over 7 innings. Jordan Romano earned the victory after striking out a pair over 2 scoreless innings of relief. Danny Jansen ended the game by hitting a 3-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th inning. Wandy Peralta was tagged in with the loss after allowing 3 runs, one of them earned in just a third of an inning. New York is now 4th in AL East at 25-20 and will close out the 4-game set tonight at Rogers Center. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat stay red hot with Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat come back from a 9-point halftime deficit to defeat the Celtics 123-116 in Boston on Wednesday. Butler totaled 35 points, 7 assists, and 6 steals as Miami took a 1-0 series lead. Jason Tatum totaled 30 points, but he did not attempt a field goal in the fourth quarter. The NBA Conference Finals continue tonight when LeBron James and the Lakers visit Nikola Jokic in the Nuggets for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals in Denver. The Nuggets hold a 1-0 series lead after defeating LA 132-126 on Tuesday.
Okay. Maybe you ought to end every sports report by saying, coming up on Tuesday, hoo-ah! Because everybody's got to have their thing. Are they in sports, right?
I need something.
Yeah, you need something like and that's sports, damn it. You know, just something that's the guy that ends that way always.
And next week he'll come in with something.
Yeah, you need something, yeah.
In the words of George Costanza, I've got something. One of the things I've got right here, right now, is a comment from a listener. I mentioned the Waterville story, and they voted on Tuesday to change the mascot logo team name.
What did they change it to?
Waterville Eagles is what it will be.
Eagles.
It's expected. Now, I don't want to jump the. Essentially, they said.
I like that. I do like that.
We'll put it before the voters, and then at its June 13th meeting, the school board needs to adopt that, formally accept it.
I think that's very American and patriotic, and
yeah.
I mean, I hate the Eagles personally, Nagel, but
same here.
But I kind of like. I think that's cool.
John in Deerfield says, "What about the county mascot? Whenever Pacenti gives a press conference, there's a Native American head behind him, and that's part of the Oneida County logo. How about we change our county name and emblems to remove the Native American references there, too? This is dumb." Was a comment from John.
Well, that's interesting, but I think it's very much like Florida State, right, which is considered to honor the Seminoles. Obviously, this is Oneida County. This is the land of the what was the Oneida Nation's land. So interesting, yeah. Here's another comment. Are you ready? So, and maybe I owe an apology to Jim Zecca, but I have somebody piping in here saying that Jim's signatures that he got for Hennessy were perfect.
Oh, I can't wait. Can we get Zecca on the phone? I need to hear this apology.
I'm not going to apologize. But, and also that he is not the head of the Constitutional Caucus, that Zecca did everything he could. And here's the other part that is interesting. We'll confirm this with Mike Hennessy when he comes in. Is that Hennessy? It was his case was dismissed. His appeal was dismissed, but it was based on procedural. It was a procedural argument. They never got to, and I'm told the number is 14. There are 14 that have to be made up. So they never got to moving signatures back in, so these have been thrown out. Now they want to go to court and say, here are, 30 signatures. This should be put back in and approved, and that would make up the difference of the 14 that are needed in order to meet the minimum. So from what I'm getting from somebody is that they never got to that yesterday. that it was a procedural argument, and whoever's handling that is the one that's kind of, I guess, messing things up. We'll see what Hennessy has to say. But here's the other part of this. He can appeal again. So, and expect him to do that. And the person that's giving me a little bit of insight here is saying not only expect him to do that, but expect him to be back on the ballot.
So, and we'll talk with Mike Hennessy this morning by phone at 8:15. I mentioned some of the comments. So can we go from you mentioned the Seminoles. Can we go from the Seminoles to the Sentinel and still stay in Oneida County? The reason I say that is because Lance and Lee has now sent me a screenshot of an article at the Sentinel, from the Sentinel, that says, and I just lost my mouse here, it's their headline about, according to the article, Monday night, Picenti wants to raise the sales tax to 9.75%. County seeks sales tax legislation. The United County Board of Legislators approved 2 home rule requests to be sent to the legislators who represent the county in the state of New in the New York Senate and the Assembly. And I thought we addressed this on the air at the end of the show yesterday. But what we're hearing from the county,
we're being told the county is telling us that story is wrong.
Right. They're looking to maintain the 8.75, not bump it to 9.75. Yeah. Right. Okay.
That's what
I want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
And we get the county executive on. We'll confirm that. Got a break. Hold on. Much more to do. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence. This stuff is I heard the best, and I'm going to play this for you in a second. You know how they're making these AI songs? So let's say you have some dead artist, Elvis, singing a current song today, what it would sound like. And some of these sound, I don't know if you've heard them, Davey, some of these sound really good.
Well, yeah. How old would Elvis be today?
I have the best one that I've ever heard.
Really?
It's the Beatles doing it's actually John Lennon singing a current song, and it's good. I'll play it coming up.
Scary.
It is a little scary.
This is scary.
Yeah, it's a little scary. And then I read somewhere, we got a warning here because, here we write every day. You can look at our stories up on the on our website, WIBX950.com. And we did you see the little warning? That we cannot use AI to write our stories or to create photos. Damn it, because that's how I'm writing all my articles now. I got AI right now.
I was going to say, we can't admit to using AI to write our articles?
Well, I call my guy Alan Inman, and he's writing everything for me.
That's good.
So apparently we're not allowed to do that. Anyway, we'll speak with Evan Brown about this coming up in a second. County DA Scott McNamara is on later on in the hour, 7:15 on Thursday morning at WIBX.
The 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market on Friday, May 19th and Saturday, May 20th will be at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds in Frankfort. You can find all kinds of hunting and sportsman supplies, ammo, bows, fishing gear, tanned furs, antiques, wildlife, photographs, wood crafts, leather goods, gorgeous gifts, flea market treasures, food trucks, and more at the 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market. The 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market on Friday, May 19th and Saturday, May 20th at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds benefits conservation education and is sponsored by the NYS Trappers Association. Vendor booths are available for the event. To reserve yours, contact Bill Swagler at 607-222-8554 or at nystaconvention@gmail.com. Admission is only $10 per person. Kids 10 and under are free. On Saturday, military is free with ID.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but costs as low as $3 per dose? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at just $3 per dose. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but only $3 per dose. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
Hey, River Hills Properties continues to be the fastest growing real estate company here in Central New York. And why does a business grow? It grows because people their perception is, wow, they're doing great things for us, right?
You also need to bring it in when it frosts outside.
That's a very good point. River Hills Properties, when you're looking to sell your home or looking to buy a home, reach out to River Hills. That's you?
Sorry. Yeah.
Reach out to River Hills if you're looking to sell your home. And I want to say that they care about their community, and we had complete proof of that and a great example of that, did we not, Manaski, yesterday. This very, very sad story that we had on the radio yesterday, where there's an event happening to raise money this Saturday.
Miles for Meg.
Miles for Meg. And you can look that up online, Miles for Meg, and you can become a part of it or just make a donation. You could make a donation right there using a credit card or PayPal or what have you, Venmo. You can donate. And yesterday, Andrew did a really nice. Andrew, of course, is formerly from here and is a very successful real estate agent with River Hills Properties. And Andrew called in and said, because here's what they're looking for. So when a family goes through the tragedy, the horrific, I can't imagine what this family went through, the tragedy of suicide. Meg's mom, who was in studio yesterday, is trying to help people who went through exactly what she went through. And one of the ways she's helping is they're looking for a home. They're raising money to buy a home, and this home would be for families that are victims of a tragedy like this, where they wouldn't have to be in the home, where everything remains. They can't. They struggle trying to get to that point where they're recovering and they're mourning the loss of their loved one. So they would be able to move into this home for 30 days or what have you, in order to just grieve and be able to get back on their feet after such a horrible tragedy. So here's where River Hills Properties and Andrew plays a role. Andrew said, I'll help them find a home, and then any commission, I'll kick it back as a donation. Pretty awesome, right? It's about caring for your community, doing things for your community, and that is the River Hills way. In fact, when you hear from Bill and Robin, they love this community. They love this region. They love living here. And it makes it that much easier if you're looking for a home or you're trying to sell a home. They can tell an amazing story about your property. And most people have an incredible emotional attachment to their property. It's the River Hills way. Every time your house is shown, your listing agent is there representing you, telling that amazing story. So why wouldn't you want to list with River Hills? In Barneville, Little Falls, and Utica, but serving all of upstate New York. Online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Call 315-896-1009. Nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Great gesture by Andrew, and a great organization. People, a lot of times they go through tragedy. I think they try to find a way to do something positive, to find something positive out of tragedy so that they can carry on the person's name, and I think that's what they're trying to do here. Miles for Meg is what you would search for if you wanted to give or be a part of their event this weekend.
It's MEAG.
MEAG.
Yes. I have here, because I just updated the page, have you seen the latest from one of the candidates who did not win a seat on the Utica School Board earlier this week?
No, but I'll be very amused, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot here to get into, but was out to humiliate and prove a point, that being Joe Hobaika. This is from the Sue Arcuri blog.
How could someone, this is the problem. She has written in the last 60 days. You remember, we've had many people go through some really terrible things. You remember some of the Dave Gordon stuff that was done here. Mm-hmm. This is not the way to get people to say, "Hey, I want to get into public service. I want to represent my community." And so it's like somebody slaps you in the face, and you yell back at them like, you're a jerk. And the person who yelled, then they're like, I cannot believe you called me a jerk. I cannot believe you had the audacity to respond to my miles and miles of insults. That's what she's saying here. So she says things, writes horrible things about his family, his kids. Forget the stuff she's written about him. And then she's like, and he was out to humiliate me after he won. What a terrible man. Let me tell you something. The fact that he stayed quiet all this time, I give him credit for staying quiet. He finally had the moment to say, you know what? Screw you. That's what happened yesterday. And she's complaining about it? What a joke.
So there's a description in here that she alleges that she's saying she's describing Joe Hobeika, but it sounds like somebody else I know. Anyway, this is from the beginning. This was posted yesterday. 2 Italian women with more relatives in East Utica than votes counted, and they lose to Alibaba and the Dirty Thieves. How about that? 2000.
Wow. Wow.
You didn't think it was going to stop, did you?
She's not a bigot. Nope.
2,041 people rushed to the polls to vote Hobeika in when he couldn't get 5 people to sign his qualifying petitions. Amazing. He was out to humiliate and prove a point. The point being he's unaccountable to anyone. This is the part that I find ironic. He's unaccountable to anyone. He will do as he damn well pleases, and his gang of thieves cashing in on capital project kickbacks and anything they can steal from the district while manipulating voting machines.
Let me tell you something.
With Ferraro in charge of it.
Let me tell you something. What does she think? She thinks she's Trump. She's Trump. She's a female version of Trump. Now, this kickback thing, it's interesting that's brought up because I'm hearing that's part of the investigation that's going on right now by the FBI. And it has, and the only thing Hobeika has anything to do with it is he's exposed all of what has been going on and putting things in place to prevent stuff like this from happening. I'm sorry. Sometimes people, I find that when someone thinks that a person is capable of doing something, and they know that the person is capable of doing something evil, the reason they think that person is capable of doing something evil is because it's old hat to the person who's thinking that. It's how they think. And they feel, well, if I do evil things, everyone does evil things, right? Everyone must. It's the pot calling the kettle black is what I'm saying here. And she should be very careful.
Would you like the mayoral prediction?
Because I love I'm going to tell you something. That whole the construction job kickback stuff. I got to tell you, there's a lot of money unaccounted for in that school district prior to Hobeika. And now, as he says, and you saw, and he's interviewed and talked about, a penny can't be spent now without it being documented and people knowing where every penny goes. So. It's interesting that she'd say that, but then to throw out those slurs, man.
I don't. I'm not familiar with what that is a reference to.
I don't know what it's a reference to either, but it certainly sounds like it's bad. Right?
I don't know what it is, but it's bad. So, you want the prediction on the mayoral race
from her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
I think you're going to find this interesting, Bill. Now carry on, sit back, and watch how the mayoral race is manipulated. Winner will be Celeste Friend. No matter how hard you work, the bag lady will be the recipient of your vote because that's exactly how they've calibrated your voting machine.
Oh, right. So the machines are, man, she is taking it from Trump, right?
Look, everything dirty rests right in this godforsaken city. The kids will suffer with their drag queen shows. Seniors will suffer with increased taxes. Again, I don't think that budget that they voted on increased taxes.
Last night we were watching Tootsie, and I was thinking about her.
The only ones gorging themselves until their fat bellies explode are the friends and family of Alibaba, the degenerate who stole the first election and perfected stealing the second.
Can't she come up with her own ridiculousness? Like, can't she be creative enough to make up her own stuff instead of stealing from Trump? I mean, come up with something new.
Well,
the voting machines, I mean, come on. Sue Arcuri, you're more creative than that.
Well, there's a tease here for the next episode.
Okay.
It's the Hobica-Russia collusion thing.
Okay, that's cool.
That doesn't say that
Can't
here,
wait for
but I'd be interested to see what comes next.
We mentioned a moment ago River Hills Properties and Andrew. Hello, Andrew Dominio. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I usually would like to refrain from making a comment, but now that I'm a City of Utica taxpayer and voter, I'm really disgusted with what I'm hearing on the radio this morning, coming from somebody who can clearly dish it out but can't take it. And this is not the first candidate that she's humiliated and embarrassed, and I won't get into details, but getting into somebody's personal life and embarrassing them in front of a community of people. Again,
I don't know that he was embarrassed. I mean, trying to.
Andrew, are you talking about the Brindisi incident?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
So she's disgusting. And, maybe because Habaika has a successful law firm and is choosing to take time out of that life to help the community as opposed to being irrelevant, doing nothing, and thinking that she's going to find some relevance on the school board, she's just a little bit upset that, I'm still shocked she came in third place. But, I mean, good thing that was only choosing two. I'm just really disgusted as a City of Utica resident, and thank God she's not representative of the school district, because she's the epitome of the opposite of progress. And I had to say something. I had to vent this morning because I'm driving back from the gym. I'm all fired up, and I'm just really disgusted at what she said. And the fact that 400 and some odd people voted for her is even more disgusting.
It's amazing. How did she get 400 people? It just shows you there are 400 like-minded people that would rather sink the ship than vote for somebody responsibly. They'd rather tip the table over, destroy everything, because that must be their goal, I guess. I don't know. So.
Can you imagine if somebody like that was representative of a school district that has, so many languages and such a diverse culture? I mean, what a disaster that would be.
That's the part of it. It is such a diverse school district. And why? Anyway, that's enough of her. Okay, on the House, that was a really nice thing you did, Andrew, yesterday.
Oh, well, that's, it means the world to me, what she's going through. As you know, as I've discussed on the show before, my personal struggles with that in the past. And the fact that she had to go through that is absolutely devastating. So I'd be happy to assist in any way possible in finding them. I think the idea is really awesome.
Yeah.
Too often it happens whether it be by, drug overdose or suicide, that a family member has to live, in at least the immediate time with that kind of trauma. It's an awesome concept to have a place for them to go and escape and decompress for a little bit. And I'd love to be able to help in any way that I can. So.
All right. Nice, Andrew. Thank you for that. And we appreciate the input, Andrew. Thank you.
And I will return your table today, I promise.
I have been sitting at my house like, where is my fold-up table? I wanted to have a garage sale, but I can't do it. I can't do it because I don't have.
I'm never doing one again. Doing one again, actually.
My wife is just happy that it's not sitting out of place around the house. So we didn't miss a thing. All right, Andrew, thank you. Have a great day.
Did he do a yard sale? A garage sale?
Have a good day.
All right, thank you. He did, and he needed a table, so he borrowed a table. Okay, on the issue that is it Lance and Lee is going down this, the county executive is trying to raise the sales tax. And there is, I found this in the Rome Sentinel, there is a clarification, and it's actually headline clarification. County seeks to extend, not increase, sales tax. In the Tuesday, May 16th edition, an article on an Oneida County home rule measure was unclear in regards to the proposed legislation. The legislation would allow Oneida County to extend its current sales tax. Oneida County is not seeking legislation to increase its sales tax. Extend versus increase, those are two different words. And on the line right now is the county executive to clarify it even further. Tony Paceni, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. It's funny that you hear the ringings of what Hobica is going through, and what has changed in this world and what you went through, what others have gone through over the course of the last 5 years, what has changed in politics where there are no rules, you can say and make up and disgustingly attack someone at will today, and it's just okay? What has changed in our society?
Well, I wish I knew. I think the change in the election from the process in 2016 with Donald Trump and with others, that everything was on the table. And that's unfortunate, and it just carried through. But it's gotten worse. I think much worse on the local level, as has been seen over the past few years, and it's unfortunate because then there's no recourse too. Because when you're a public official, you have no recourse in which to do anything about it. So it's really gotten to a sad state of affairs instead of sticking to the serious issues that we're all facing, and the good issues that we're facing. So
okay, why in the world are you trying to raise the sales tax?
Oh, I mean, it was look, I really criticize reporters. I know that they try to get stories the best way they can, and this was just incorrect from the get-go. It is, and anybody that follows this knows this is another aspect of the state legislature that the Democrat-controlled assembly wants every 2 years for the counties, all of the counties. If you look at all of the legislation in Albany right now, you will see 57 sales tax renewals, because the legislature requires counties to go back and literally do it all over again, so that they can continue the sales tax in place anything above 3%, which everybody outside of New York is above, and including New York is above 3%. So anything you have above that has to go back to be renewed every 2 years. I mean, initially the governor had put in her proposal this year that was no longer going to be necessary, that only if you wanted to raise it again would you come back. But of course, Carl Hasty and the control of the assembly said, no, we want them to come back and beg for it again. And so that's why we're doing it. And that's what it is. So there's no additional. Don't you think it would have been? I mean, that's just bizarre that anybody would think that.
So it's procedural. You're simply renewing the current sales tax. That's what
completely procedural.
Okay.
The 1 3/4, because the 3% for everybody has always been grandfathered in many years ago.
Okay.
So that one you don't have to renew.
Okay. All right. We appreciate the clarification.
I was just going to say that I find it interesting that they want approval every 2 years of everything beyond the 3%, right? Because the first 4% they get is theirs. Right. It's not appropriate for you to be looking for that sales tax.
That's correct.
And I got to tell you something. We had someone call in when Senator Griffo was on the other day, and I listened to it back again, and boy, it amazes me. So if you're a state legislator, and I don't know that this goes. I don't think this is the case for all state retirements, but for the legislature, it is. That their retirement is not taxed, and the caller was like, I'd like to be able to have my retirement not taxed. Mm-hmm. It's amazing the perks that have been built in that just go unnoticed year after year, Tony. It amazes me out of this legislature.
Yeah, it's funny, but state retirement is not taxed by New York State for anybody.
Oh, it is for any state retirement.
In the state system.
So if you're
if you retire from the state retirement system in New York, I mean, if that's your retirement benefit, it is not taxed by the state.
It's taxed by the federal government, but not the.
It's taxed by the federal, but not the state.
Okay.
But that's for everybody. That's not just for
politicians.
Not just for elected officials or legislators. No.
Well, I'd like that for me. If we could see if we can get that going. Could you extend that to teachers? That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I believe it is.
It might be.
They do.
Maybe that's it too.
But it is in the teachers' retirement system as well. Again, It's just on the federal side.
Okay, got it. All right, Tony. As I'm
Okay.
complaining about it, I better shut my mouth. My wife's saying, "Shut up." Don't cause trouble here. All right. No increase in sales
Nothing else?
tax.
Okay,
This is
no.
procedural. We'll see you at some point coming up soon in studio.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. Bye.
County Executive Anthony Vicente. All right. Quick break. Let's do Davey. Caller number what for Hobica's free money question of the day? We gave away $100 yesterday.
7.
Let's do the 7th caller right now. Maybe we do it again today. 7th caller right now, 315-736-0186. We'll do that next, and then the county DA, Scott McNamara, coming up on WIBX.
From screen printing and embroidery to promotional products and online shops, it's all under one new roof at Max's Print Shop in Marcy. Order anytime and any quantity in person or online at maxsprintshop.com. Since 1978, we pride ourselves on personally meeting every customer's need. We can take your project from design to production. And remember, Max's Print Shop will stitch anything. And we mean anything in the Utica-Rome area. Find us at 9555 River Road in Marcy or online at maxsprintshop.com.
For the past 25 years, the Good News Center has been committed to building relationships. Better relationships for marriage, better family relationships, and a better relationship with God while promoting self-change. Hi, this is Judy Hauk, Executive Director at the Good News Center. Our programs are designed to support you at your most challenging times. Whether it is marriage difficulties, addiction issues, suffering the loss of a loved one, or caring for someone close, we can offer you support. Or strengthen your faith journey by attending one of our spiritual renewal programs, such as a Bible study or Theology Uncorked. Our support programs are available in person or via Zoom. They are mentored by peers, cost nothing, and are confidential. For more information about all of our programs, visit us at thegoodnewscenter.org or call us at 315-735-6210. The Good News Center, building relationships for over 25 years.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203.
For your financial advice to be useful, it needs to be tailored to how you live your life. I'm Jim McGuire, branch manager of Baird's Utica office. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning for all areas of your life. Retirement, family, and estate plans, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate our advice with your tax and legal advisors, so you can be confident all of your plans are working together for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdUtica.com.
Refresh and renew your home this spring with Little Falls Lumber. They're fully stocked with secondary grade metal in all colors and 12-foot lengths. An affordable option for fixing utility sheds, roofs, or garages. Looking for lumber and tired of the warped pieces from the big box stores? Then go to Little Falls Lumber, where they stock only premium grade lumber. Stop in to one of their 3 convenient locations: Little Falls, Syracuse, and Schenectady. Little Falls Lumber, helping you refresh and renew this spring. Call 315-823-2470 or visit littlefallslumber.com.
At SimpliSafe, we design award-winning security to protect every inch of your home. It's easy to set up yourself, and now there's an even easier option. Have an expert do it for you with SimpliSafe Pro Install. Always protecting, never a contract. 2 easy installation options, backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
"Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis."
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
In the June primary, Rome Mayor Jackie Izzo was running to keep steady strategic leadership working for Rome. like 6 years and counting with no tax increase, $70 million in grant funding, $325 million in public and private sector investment, plus dozens of economic development victories, all while maintaining an A-plus financial rating. Beginning with early voting on June 17th, vote for the only endorsed Republican candidate. Vote Mayor Jackie Izzo for Rome. Leadership that's working.
Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Hey, have you tried yet? It's a Utica Thing Kitchen and Bar. So delicious. The food is so good, and it's a beautiful, brand new restaurant, completely done over. It's at the old Charlie's Pizza on Leland Ave in North Utica, now open inside the Big Lots Plaza. Call for reservations. Open tonight, 4 till 10, tomorrow, 4 till 10, and the weekend, open both Saturday and Sunday as well. For reservations, call 315-738-8946. Great Italian foods, steaks and pastas, seafood as well, and a full bar. It's a Utica Thing Kitchen and Bar. And if you're having a graduation party or a get-together, whatever size your party, they can take care of you with catering this season. Call It's a Utica Thing Kitchen and Bar, and they'll cater your graduation party or event coming up this next few weeks. 315-738-8946. It's a Utica Thing Kitchen and Bar, now open.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, let's get to Mark in Westmoreland, ready to take a shot at the free money question of the day. And Mark, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Bill. How are you today?
Good, good. Are you a Chick-fil-A fan?
Yes.
You are? All right, this might help you. All right,
Yeah.
here's your question. You're going to have 7 seconds to
The
answer.
answer has nothing to do with Chick-fil-A, trust me.
Well, I don't know. Here we go. Here's your question. The first ever Chick-fil-A restaurant was located in what major eastern American city? Ready, go.
Atlanta, Georgia.
That is absolutely right. He's right. 2 days in a row we're giving away.
Oh, yeah?
Monica's
That
money.
is right.
I almost feel like you got that through Google.
Where is it? There we go.
That you got that through Google, and if you did, God bless you. Congratulations, Atlanta, Georgia is the first ever Chick-fil-A. By the way, sadly, I don't know what's going on, but that restaurant is closing. Apparently, it's not as big of a deal down there as it is up here. But okay, Mark, congratulations, $100.
Yeah. Do I get the gift card too?
Boy, you're going for it all. Absolutely, you get the all-in-one food and fun card. It's a $25 gift card. Go to any of the restaurants associated with the Comets, Aquavino, Babe, 72 Tavern and Grill, Taylor and the Cook, and they're doing 2 for Tuesday, 2 hot dogs for $2 on Tuesdays at Cookie's Q and Creamery. With that $25 gift card, you could walk away with 25 hot dogs.
50
plus tax.
Oh, it's a 2 for Tuesday.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You can't beat WIBX, the free money question. You can't lose, even if you get it wrong.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you, Mark. I'm going to save that for a commercial. All right, stand by, and Davey is going to take care of you, all right?
Have a good day, man.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right,
You
thank
too.
you. How do we celebrate Hopeika's victory on the school board? We give away his money.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it. Nice and tight. If you could just pull that a little bit closer. All right. County DA Scott McNamara is in studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Okay. Sad story that we're talking about here. There was recently an indictment, grand jury indictment, into Alexander Klus, indicting him on leaving the I guess the indictment is a Class D felony, leaving the scene. Talk about that if you could.
Sure. He's accused of leaving the scene of a serious physical injury accident, and the allegations are that him and his, I think it's his girlfriend, were left the Comets game, were driving home, and he alleges that she jumped out of the vehicle, and he left her there.
While it was moving, right? It wasn't like
Correct.
It wasn't like a pull over, let me out type thing.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This happened now, 6 months ago.
Yep.
Has the autopsy come back where you've been able to determine the cause of death and what led you to present this?
Yeah, she died of severe head injuries.
Is that consistent with falling or jumping or?
It depends who you talk to, I guess. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you don't know how somebody lands. He's the only person that knows, how she exited the vehicle. He has an attorney, so we can't talk to him, type of thing. So, but I will say, because I think I was on the show when it originally happened.
Back in December, yeah.
And so what we did was, we treated it like a homicide, and that's kind of the way I've always tried to do it. When you have somebody that's died and it's clearly, we don't know how it happened. So
I think your wording was, I'm not saying it's a homicide.
Correct.
We are treating it as if it is.
And that's what I do, even like with baby deaths, any type of death where, you just don't, the death shouldn't have happened, so we treat it like a homicide, but not saying it's a homicide. But we did everything that we could to try to determine how she received these injuries and how she got out of the vehicle. And, obviously his side of the story was she jumped out, and we don't have any eyewitnesses. And so, the first thing we did was try to find any type of surveillance videos and try to see if we could pick up the vehicle along the way and see if anything happened. We didn't find anything there. The next thing that we did was on that vehicle, his vehicle, which was a pickup truck, we took the black box out of it. I don't know what the actual wording for it, but it's if people think of it similar to the black box in an airplane, and we check that.
I didn't know that even existed.
Yeah. It's a
Newer
big
cars,
thing that
I'm
we
assuming.
do on the newer
Yeah.
cars. We download the computer system off it, and you can see. And I don't know how accurate it is, but we're stuck with what we get. You know what I'm saying? And so I know we had another case where we used it. Was very helpful because it showed which doors opened and all this other thing, so we could, and that was a homicide up in Oneida Castle. But in this case, we did the same thing. We can't, there's no indication the vehicle stopped at any time, including when this happened. And so, so I know there's a lot of questions like, did he do it and all that stuff. And we looked at it very hard, and we don't have any evidence to support that theory. And that's really what it is, a theory by different people that he caused her harm. And here's the things that I looked at, and I share that because we don't have a homicide charge, and I know there's a lot of people asking me a lot of questions. Well, why isn't he being charged with homicide? Well, here's the other thing. We said, okay, she has all these injuries. If he caused those injuries, first of all, we can't show that car stopped. Obviously, that's the allegation on him leaving. He doesn't stop. So we don't have the vehicle stopped, and we don't have any blood inside of the vehicle. We don't have any weapon with blood or anything on it. And so let's just work through this like we would have to prove at a trial. Okay, if he hurt her, she would have had to be in the car, and therefore there would be blood in the car. There is no blood in the car. So the next question, well, if he didn't hurt her someplace else and throw her out of the car there or ditch her there, then he had to do it there, and we don't have any indication that he stopped.
When you talk about this, looking at the records to see if the vehicle had stopped, whatever system was being used, does it depict, like, for instance, when they left the hockey game, they came into a traffic light and stopped? Is it only in this particular period, or are you saying over the course of all the data you received, you can't tell when the vehicle was stopping or going?
We don't show the vehicle stopping from the time it left the auditorium until the time it got home.
Well, it's between...
and we don't show the speed being excessive. So there's nothing to... I understand, and like I said way back when, I mean, we have a young lady that ends up dead, ends up in the middle of the road, that has, it definitely has a lot of things, a lot of questions that we had to look into, and we looked in it. That's why we're 6 months down the road. We spent a lot of time, and my assistant that's assigned to the case, we spent an incredible amount of time talking, going back and forth, things that things that she would have ideas for, things I would have ideas for. There's a lot of stuff that we looked at, and I can't really talk about a lot of the other stuff because we still do have a case pending. So,
is there did he go, because I have to say, I believe these two people originally come from Little Falls. So,
correct,
these are small communities. Everybody knows everybody. And you're dealing in a situation where the allegation is that they were close, clearly, girlfriend, boyfriend.
Right.
She jumped out of the vehicle, and at no point did he come back. Did he come back at some point?
I can't talk about that because it goes towards the case
Okay.
itself. It's
All right.
facts that we will present at the
But at the very least, the indictment is that he left the scene without reporting, and
Correct.
it makes every person right now, I would assume, think to themselves, "Oh my God, I don't know that I could ever do that to someone I'm close to."
I think that's, I think a lot of people think that. I thought that. I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I mean, if my wife jumped out of our vehicle, I would stop, and for the main reason is to help her. So yeah, we totally understand that. But there were a lot of other things going on. I can't really talk about that, but I will say this much: just because there's so much. So many people are calling and so many people are saying, well, how come he wasn't charged? And so that's why I'm explaining what we did to show what we can't prove it. And without getting really technical, well, first of all, the last thing we want to do is to indict somebody for something they didn't do.
Right.
We got to always be. That's the thing with prosecutors. That's what I often say. The job's a lot harder than it looks on TV because you behind all of this is we don't want to have somebody wrongfully charged or wrongfully convicted. And and actually the case in my career that gets the most attention for that allegation, which by the way, Bill, you were one that said at one time, was Caitlin Conley.
Well, I do remember hearing the wrath of Scott McNamara in my ear after that show.
But that case has a ton more evidence. But that's a circumstantial.
I was going to compare the two, but you had cell phone. Cell phone played such a big role.
That case was all about. I think that case was all about Adam downloaded her phone, so we had a copy of her phone that showed what she deleted and didn't delete. I mean that was huge, and then everything that she it proved that she bought it. She was all over it, and her fingerprints. I think it was her fingerprints or DNA. I can't remember now, but in this case we have nothing. And but back to the thing. So, it's like I understand there's questions, and I understand that from a moral standpoint, I think people are saying, like what you just said, why would he leave her there? I don't know. But I know what my job is number one is, we don't want to charge somebody that, didn't do something. We have to look at everything. And then because it's a circumstantial case, for us to win, every other reasonable possible scenario has to be ruled out to win at trial. I mean, that's the charge or the law the judge will explain to a jury when you get to that point. And, we can't disprove what, that she jumped out of the vehicle. We just can't do that at this point. We got no evidence to suggest anything other than that at this point. Obviously, it's a homicide. It's not a homicide, but right now it would be considered an accidental death. But if it was a homicide, I should say, if it was a homicide, there is no statute of limitations if he did it. So it's not like this clears him forever. If in fact he was ultimately we could prove that it happened.
If you get some
but
evidence.
I'm not saying it did. I'm just saying using that. Because I think everyone thinks, well, then it's all over. No, it's not, because, if somebody kills somebody intentionally, that is a murder, and murder has no statute of limitations. But there is, I can't emphasize enough, there is no evidence at all that we possess, none, that her death was at his hands in the sense that he caused those injuries to.
I've known that there is a charge. The law requires someone, if there's an accident, to not leave the scene. This seems different. This is it's being listed as an incident. Can you talk about that?
We
And what the responsibility of a person is,
right,
if there's an incident.
And I'm sure this will be litigated. No doubt in my mind it's going to be litigated because I would assume the defense attorney will make that argument. But the law, we did the research. There is nothing that says that if you are not, there's nothing in the law that says if it's one car accident, you don't have to stop. Or like, for example, if you hit a deer, you're supposed to call so in this case, the incident is that somebody jumped out of his car, okay? So let me ask you this. If it was a child that fell out the window of a car, do you think the person has to stop? I think yes. I believe that's what the law requires. And that's why, but we did do a lot of legal research on this. I shouldn't say we. I should say my assistant, Rebecca Kelleher, who is assigned this case, did a lot of research on this. And, that's where we're at. It's a terrible case. It's a terrible situation. But from a legal standpoint, it's a fascinating type of case to actually try to work on and do the legal research on. And I don't think this will be the last time that we're talking about this because I think there'll be emotions and there'll be a lot of litigation.
Is there an opportunity for someone to put a plea deal together? Was there an opportunity in this case? Can you talk about that?
There was no real. That never really happened.
And then it is interesting because I do find this very fascinating because this is all about the law and what can be proven based on the evidence,
right?
Which is exactly what a prosecution and a defense is all about,
right? And it is, and I can tell you, Rebecca and I have had numerous conversations and. As recently as the day the indictment was returned, just discussing, how complicated and in the law involved, and it's from a legal standpoint an interesting case, but from a from a emotional standpoint, it's a very sad situation.
It is especially. You don't have to be a parent to feel this way, but as a parent, it just is horrific. Both of them very young, and this is going to affect both of their lives. But you do wonder how in the world can someone allow someone? I say allow anybody can jump out of a car, but then to drive off and not report it. That is tough to swallow.
That's like what you're saying. It's a moral issue. I think is what really bothers people.
County DA Scott McNamara, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
And as you said, I'm sure we'll talk more about this going on down the road. Daylight Donuts, the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program, is in New Hartford. Chuck Sedella. Make sure that drive-through is lightning fast. In and out and on the way, off to work or wherever you're going. Fresh coffee, fresh donuts, fresh bagels every single morning. It's Daylight Donuts in New Hartford.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
A meeting before the summit. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Biden had in Japan with the Prime Minister ahead of a gathering of G7 world leaders. One big topic.
Supporting the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereign territory and holding Russia accountable for its brutal aggression.
Overnight, Russia launched 30 more missiles at Ukraine, which says it shot down all but one. It hit Odessa, killing at least one person. But Russia's news agency just said they hit Ukrainian military targets with high-precision missiles.
So the Russian invasion, a big topic, as you said, along with President Biden, what he calls a climate crisis. While here, the world leaders will come up with a unified way to respond to a more aggressive China. We'll also hear about those emerging technologies like quantum computing and artificial intelligence.
Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence in Hiroshima, where later tonight, tomorrow, Japanese time, the president will visit a memorial for the 1945 atomic atomic bomb the U.S. dropped there that led to the end of World War II. The day before Jack Teixeira goes to another court hearing in Massachusetts, we're learning more about the case against him, charged with leaking classified documents online.
Federal prosecutors also charged that the Air National Guardsman was warned twice to stop taking notes on classified information. According to the court filing, Teixeira would jot down top secret information during confidential meetings and was caught viewing content not related to his duties.
Fox's Gary Baumgarten. Montana has become the first state to ban TikTok.
Montana's law prohibits any downloads of TikTok in the state and would find any, quote, entity, meaning an app store or TikTok itself, $10,000 per day for each time someone, quote, is offered the ability to access the social media platform or download the app. How exactly that is enforceable seems an open question.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. Many other states have TikTok bans, but only on government-issued devices. The concern is China can access user data or manipulate content. America's listening to Fox News.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password,
For you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to lifelock.com.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation's Let Us Do Good Village in Land O'Lakes, Florida, is a community that will have about 100 homes for the foundation's program participants. 2 families have already moved in. A Gold Star family and the family of a severely injured veteran moved into the community's first smart home. It's a special place where together families can heal. Make the Let Us Do Good Village the first of many communities like it. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Well, we have some morning sunshine and warming it up right now to 41 degrees. WIBX News Time is 8:03. This news update is brought to you by My Carl's Memorial Day sale. It starts now. My showroom's full of amazing deals: sofas, recliners, bedroom sets, dining sets. Why wait for Memorial Day to save? Shop My Carl's in the New Hartford Shopping Center and Destiny USA. Well, after putting the question to voters on Tuesday, the Waterville Central School District's administration thinks that the replacement logo, mascot, and team name of the district has been decided. Voters in the district were given 4 options this week as replacements for the longstanding Indian school name and mascot. Voters deciding on Eagles, choosing the Birds over Huskies, Wolves, and Wildcats. The move follows a mandate from the State Ed Department in an effort to end the use of Native American mascots as soon as practical. Districts have until the end of the 2024-25 school year to fully phase out mascots, team names, and logos associated with Native American imagery and names. More on this story on our website at WIBX950.com. The operator of the limousine involved in a deadly crash in Schoharie back in 2018 convicted yesterday on a charge of manslaughter. A jury did hand down a guilty verdict against Numan Hussein, ending a trial that lasted about 3 weeks. Prosecutors say he did not make sure the vehicle was properly maintained ahead of the tragedy in 2018 that resulted in 20 deaths. However, his attorney countered by claiming an auto shop had a role in the accident because it did not complete requested repairs. Hussein now faces prison time. He is due to be sentenced coming up on May 31st. Looks like Antonio Brown might be playing football in Central New York. Is that right? Well, the Albany Empire may be on the verge of adding a former NFL wide receiver. Multiple reports say Brown is the majority owner of the National Arena League franchise, and he might take the field when the Empire hosts the Fayetteville Mustangs next weekend. There are currently no rules that would prohibit owners from playing for their team. During his 11-year NFL career, Brown had over 12,000 receiving yards and 83 touchdown receptions. I did not know that he was a majority owner of the Arena Football League team in
no idea about
Capital Region.
Wow.
Shocking. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast. saying we're going to warm up beyond 55, which we couldn't say that yesterday. Full details from Eyewitness News.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flynn to the WIBX Weather Center today. Cold early, widespread frost, then milder and sunny. Turns very pleasant in the afternoon. Light winds near 65. Tonight, not as cold, mainly clear sky, near 45. And tomorrow, mostly to partly sunny, turning breezy, warmer again with increasing clouds late day, high 78. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Sunshine and 41 degrees. Here's sports with Devin Furpo.
All right, kicking it off with the Mets. They snapped their two-game skid with an 8-7 walk-off win over the Tampa Bay Rays at Citi Field. Mark Vientos got the Mets on the board with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Francisco Alvarez tied the game with a 3-run shot in the bottom of the 9th, and Pete Alonso won the game with a 3-run blast in the 10th inning. David Robinson earned his first win of the season after allowing 2 runs, one of them earned over an inning of relief. New York hopes to win the series when it hosts Tampa Bay in the rubber match this afternoon in Flushing. The Yankees were unable to extend their winning streak to 3 games after being shut out 3-0 by the Blue Jays in Toronto. Chris Bassett started the game for the Jays and struck out 7 batters without allowing a run over 7 innings. Jordan Romano earned the victory after striking out a pair over 2 scoreless innings of relief. Danny Jansen ended the game by hitting a 3-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th inning. Wandy Peralta was tagged with the loss after allowing 3 runs, one of them earned in just a third of an inning. New York is now 4th in the AL East at 25-20 and will close out the 4th game set at Rogers Center. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat stayed red hot with a Game 1 win in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat came back with a 9-point halftime deficit to defeat the Celtics 123-116 in Boston on Wednesday. Butler totaled 35.7 assists and 6 steals as Miami took a 1-0 series lead. Jason Tatum totaled 30 points but did not attempt a field goal in the 4th quarter. The NBA Conference Finals continue tonight when LeBron James and the Lakers visit Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals in Denver. The Nuggets hold a 1-0 series lead after defeating LA 132-126 on Tuesday. And that's sports for the hour.
I was having a dispute with a buddy of mine who was about, wow, those Celtics, I'll tell you what. You know, and it's such a jump in talent for the Heat to have played the Knicks. He was kind of talking down the Knicks a little bit, which I kind of understand. But to say to go from the Knicks as your opponent to the Celtics, and they were going to be so overmatched. And Jimmy Butler isn't really overmatched all that often, and he showed that last night. I agree that the Celtics probably have a better team and more talent, but the most talented guy on the floor in that series, just like the last series, is Jimmy Butler. So that's going to be interesting to see. Go ahead.
You're not saying Jason Tatum from the Celtics?
Jason Tatum is outstanding. I'm telling you, outstanding. Down the stretch, will to win, got to have a bucket, find a way to do it. I'm taking Jimmy Butler over Jason Tatum. I'm sorry. The other thing is, I find it interesting. This is my beef, if you will, with the NBA regular season. Nobody cares. The fans, coaches, the players. You play what you have to play to put yourself in position for the postseason. I know that can be dangerous. We see that with the Yankees. I'm not saying, essentially you get the wild card. It doesn't guarantee you anything, right, getting in. And it's a dangerous game when you have to turn it on and turn it off on demand. But the Heat have it's one game, 1-0 series lead. They were the 7 seed, and were in play-in games, if I'm not mistaken. And the Lakers were down 15 in a play-in game. They almost didn't make the playoffs. They'll be on the road for Game 2 tonight in Denver, but you have a 7 seed and an 8 seed in the NBA Conference Finals, and you really rarely see that. It's not like the NCAA tournament where you get these upsets all the time. And in these long series, you don't see that a ton. Go ahead, Smitty.
But you also have to think, Jeff, that the Lakers started 4-18, and now look at them.
Oh, yeah. No, they got off to a rough start. But, I mean, when you have LeBron James, I don't think that you need a ton else to compete on a night-in, night-out basis. No, they only won 4 times in 22 games. That's the greatest of all time. 4 times in 22 games, but they certainly look pretty good now. We'll see if they can bounce back with a win tonight against the MVP, the Joker, and the Denver Nuggets. Coming up, we'll talk with Mike Hennessy. We'll get an update on what happened in the courtroom yesterday as it relates to his effort to get back on the ballot in a race for Oneida County Executive. We've got some more great comments to get to. Is the Preakness this weekend? Oh, there's a lot going on because of PGA Championship. That starts today. That's one thing he didn't mention, but that's my fault. A lot to talk about. A busy hour to come. First News, Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
The 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market on Friday, May 19th and Saturday, May 20th will be at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds in Frankfort. You can find all kinds of hunting and sportsman supplies, ammo, bows, fishing gear, tanned furs, antiques, wildlife, photographs, wood crafts, leather goods, gorgeous gifts, flea market treasures, food trucks, and more at the 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market. The 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market on Friday, May 19th and Saturday, May 20th at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds benefits conservation education and is sponsored by the NYS Trappers Association. Vendor booths are available for the event. To reserve yours, contact Bill Swagler at 607-222-8554 or at nystaconvention@gmail.com. Admission is only $10 per person. Kids 10 and under are free. On Saturday, military is free with ID.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, buy a 5-quart jug and get a free STP Extended Life Oil Filter. That's right, free. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need, when you need them, at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203.
Home and Hospital Medical Supply in the New Hartford Shopping Center proudly carries a wide selection of home medical equipment. Lift chairs to buy or rent, canes, crutches, walkers, powered scooters, braces, foot care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them 315-724-6767 and online at HNHMedicalNY.com. Home and Hospital Medical Supplies, we make life easier.
Hey, talk about pain. If you're dealing with pain and you're looking for an answer, there is help out there. Go to killpain.com. Dr. Hyder and the Omni Surgery Center, they do a wonderful job of eliminating people's pain. And there's nothing worse than having pain that just won't go away. Dealing with my dad, this very issue, Dr. Hyder's been incredible. And it's miraculous when you see someone walk in with pain and come out and have the relief that allows them to sleep at night or to eat normally or to just even walk out of the facility. Nothing short of a miracle. You can schedule an appointment. Call today, 315-765-8448. Your issue may be something surgical. They offer a less invasive procedure that can help in a quick recovery. Or it could be injections that just relieve the pain and give you a chance to heal. Omni Surgery Center with Dr. Hyder. The office is located in the Utica Business Park, and, of course, the surgery center is on French Road. Killpain.com, 315-765-8448, where modern technology meets cutting-edge surgery.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home select BX Series equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Log on or give us a call today at whitesfarmsupply.com.
White's Farm Supply.
Hi, I'm Pete from Big Apple Music, and whether it's your home or business, you have a lot invested. In the past, a camera surveillance system was an expensive luxury. Big Apple has now made it affordable. Big Apple is the area's leader when it comes to camera surveillance systems, having installed hundreds locally in homes and businesses. Big Apple is New York State licensed for security and camera surveillance, with most of our products sourced from American companies. Featuring Starlight Night Vision, our cameras dollar for dollar have the best night vision available. A camera surveillance system can offer full property coverage. It prevents and reduces crime, monitors high-risk areas like parking lots and showrooms, and Big Apple has a fully set-up showroom to give you real-time, realistic demonstrations of just how great a camera system can be for you. Stop in and see for yourself at Big Apple Music in New Hartford.
Hey, it's the Move to Mazda sales event going on right now. Ricky Z and everybody over at Steve Ponte Mazda ready to work with you on putting together the deal of a lifetime. Whatever works for you, Rick will take care of you. They're first place nationally in customer satisfaction. It's the way they treat people, the way they work with people. That's Rick is all about that. And right now, as part of their Move to Mazda sales event, enjoy 2.9% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 Mazda CX-30s, 5s, and CX-50s. You can enjoy 0% APR financing up to 36 months on new 2023 Mazda CX-9s. The Move to Mazda sales event going on right now. It's all about customer satisfaction at Steve Ponte Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, quickly, Joe Lode has been waiting on the line here. Joseph, good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to give you an update, Bill. So I went to Roswell yesterday for chest x-rays and blood work, and I got a clean bill of health.
That's awesome.
Doctor
Good job.
said you're cancer-free, and we'll see you in 6 months to test you again. So
that is great news. For those that don't know, you were dealing with your kidney, of one kidney. And you had cancer. They were able to save that kidney. Otherwise, you would have been facing dialysis, right?
yeah. So I mean, I think it's a miracle. The doctor, he's pretty. I don't want to say arrogant, but he's pretty confident in himself, and he's like, no, it's just another day at the office, And that's what they do at Roswell. I mean, you go to a hospital that deals in that stuff every single day, and you're expected to recover,
Yeah, the fact that they were able to remove the cancerous part and allow for a functioning kidney in a person who didn't know he only had one kidney till about, 5 years ago?
Yeah, well, I was about 40 when I found out, but it was just, my doctor said it was kind of a common thing. I never knew.
Joe, you look like you're 45. That's what I'm thinking. You look young.
Bill, I appreciate that.
Right.
So, so I stopped today at where I stop every morning on my way to work in Barneville to
Here
the
it
Lifted
comes.
Cup Cafe,
Mhm.
where a cup of coffee and a prayer goes a long way. So I say Lifted Cup.
There you go. By the way, Ann in Rome, God bless Joe. Excellent news. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Got
All
that?
right, take care.
Only one plug today. Wow. Wow.
Only one plug.
You did.
Lifted Cup Cafe.
You did plug Roswell too. That was a good place. All right. Thank you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You get that word that it's that cancer-free phrase is really big, and so glad that worked out for Joe. Okay, we've been talking about this all morning and part of yesterday. The signatures for county executive candidate Mike Hennessy had been rejected, where we believe he was 14 signatures shy. They went back to court on appeal yesterday. We're told that was thrown out yesterday, but it was thrown out because of a procedural issue, We're also told that Hennessy is most likely to appeal again. Let's find out from the source. Mike Hennessy on the line right now. Good morning.
Good morning, and you framed the issue very clearly and appropriately. I do want to say to all those that got my signatures, you did a great job. It's nothing to do what you did. I know Bill has talked about that rules must be followed. Well, this is not a rule that you would have known about or been able to follow. So, with that said, I'll answer your questions.
Well, what is the issue?
Well, yesterday's issue was a procedural issue in court, right?
Absolutely. It was something about specifics. We did the same exact wordage. The same person wrote it 4 years ago, and it was fine. There's some case law back a while, not a while, relatively in the last couple of years, where they said that you have to be specific about your response to the Board of Elections rulings. We were, as I said, very specific. We did not have it inside the lawsuit that we made. We had it attached to the lawsuit, which I've been told is the same basic thing. So they were questioning that, oh, you say you only needed 14 or 13. Well, we got the 13 by looking up the numbers, and it was 13 we were short. But we didn't even get a chance in court to explain how that number was brought up by the Board of Elections. So that was their mistake. We had witnesses out in the waiting room, at least 8 witnesses that were prepared to talk about petitions and under oath, and none of them were able to come out. These are people that came from work to make sure that their votes counted or their signatures counted, and there are also people that were out there getting signatures. And none of that was allowed into court. This was baked into the cake, and I'm very disappointed in the judge because for some technicality like this to be brought into court, you have to have a judge willing to do it.
What you're planning to appeal again?
We're looking at it. I'm not sure yet, to be quite honest.
Oh, okay.
We do have a secondary line that's going quite well, but he'll appeal that because he's not able to man up. He doesn't want to have the voters to have a say because he knows what I know, and that he's lost quite a bit of popularity, despite all these things he claims he's done. People are seeing right through the rhetoric. And they're tired of this guy going to court all the time. If it's Dave Gordon or Mike Hennessy or the Nexus Project, he's in court all the time. Or the hospital. This guy wants to take his campaign funds and use it to pay attorneys to tie up things. And I just feel bad for the voters of this county.
I'll let Tony defend himself tomorrow, but it is not uncommon to have signatures challenged, and the word
they weren't challenged. The signatures were challenged by the Board of Elections. They are not the finest say, and there was supposed to have been a hearing. There was no hearing. We went there expecting to go line by line with the Board of Elections, and they didn't even want to go over one. Okay, so we go into court with witnesses and 170 signatures that would have been brought into court, and they wouldn't allow one witness or one signature to be looked at.
So, what was the procedural reasoning for? Clearly, it was something legitimate, according to the judge.
To the judge, she was confused. She apologized to me, and as I've said, it's not about me. It's about the 1,600 Republicans that wanted a primary, and they're the ones that have been hurt the most.
Yeah, but
this county's been hurt because this county executive is power is corrupted absolutely, and this community is starting to see through all his little maneuvers and trying to keep people off the ballot. Why doesn't he just have an election? That's what a real man does.
Well,
and I asked for debates, and he would. Oh, we'll see if he gets on the ballot. Well, What's his excuse tomorrow when he says I'll be on the independent line? Will he debate me? I don't think so.
I cannot believe you compared yourself to Dave Gordon because while you certainly present
I didn't compare myself to Dave Gordon. I compared the fact that your county executive, who you work for, okay, you're always protecting
Okay.
Tony.
All
Okay,
right.
it's a fact in this community. Have a nice day, Bill.
And you're going to hang up?
I'm not going to hang up, but I don't see where you're really going with it.
Well, you said that, you compared your case, your election, to the election with Dave Gordon, and I can't believe you would make that comparison.
I did not say that, Bill.
Bill,
I did not compare
All
my
right.
election to Dave Gordon.
Well, you said he did this to me. He did this to Dave Gordon.
All over this county.
Yeah.
All over this county since he's been county executive. You'd have to go back 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
Of looking
Here's
over
the
lawsuits
hey, Mike,
and finding
Mike,
out how
Mike.
many are his lawsuits.
Mike, let's not defend Tony. I'm not defending Tony, but I can tell you, people on the inside, people that I know who have seen those signatures that were questioned, said it was a disaster. And
what was the issue with those signatures?
If you can't get that
Bill,
right, how do you?
Let the other host.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, I'm asking you, Mike. I have people
Jeff,
saying that
Jeff has a question.
Mike, you don't do that. I'm sorry. I'm asking
what
a question.
What do you mean I don't do?
I'm
I
asking.
don't try to control a few minutes of my time that I've given you people, and Jeff's always been polite. And Bill, I have listened to you lately. It's all about Tony. And people have told me not to come on your show. I've come on time after time. And when you tell me some people said that your petitions were a disaster, that's not the case, sir.
Well, I'm telling
that
you.
was not the case.
Well, first of all,
we followed the letter of the law. We have enough signatures. That's why we couldn't bring the witnesses in. She would have had no choice. So they had to cut it off and not allow us to have the witnesses. So they bring up this technicality. Mr. Pisanti has been the worst county executive this county's ever had.
Okay, that is so amazing because other people say the opposite. But let's just stick to the issue here. Not me defending Tony Pisanti. Although I will tell you, I do believe he's done a great job as county executive. You just look at the area. That's how I feel.
Look,
I'm sorry.
Look at the area.
But
look at the. We have 14% of the people in United County are below the level of poverty.
I understand that. Listen,
14%. That's 1 out of 10 people. More than 1 out of 10 people walking around.
You seem like a disgruntled, angry man today. Because I'm simply bringing up topics that you don't want to talk about. Let's talk about
because this is a job of just preventing an election falsely and fraudulently onto the voters of Oneida County.
How do other people get on the ballot?
votes.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know how other people get on the ballot. There are a lot of people
They
that
don't.
They don't. Okay.
No, not if they're running against Tony Pisanti.
Okay. So the judge has got to be in on it. The judge has got to be in cahoots with Pisanti. The judge made a bad decision yesterday. That's what you're saying.
You said it.
Well, I'm not saying it. I'm saying
I may agree
that,
with you, but you're the one that brought that up like that.
You're saying that, is this Judge Clark that you were before yesterday?
Yes.
So Judge Clark made a decision to protect Tony Pisanti. It had nothing to do with proper procedure. So Judge Clark
had nothing to do with proper procedure.
And Judge Clark is on the take, must be, or
this before.
She's also carrying Pisanti's water, must be.
I've been through this before, and we won. And this case was much more willing. We provided enough to bring back at least 60, 70 signatures. Okay.
So, but I'm told, and we talked about this earlier, Mike, I'm the big unfair interviewer because you're a poor little baby that can't handle himself, and the rest of those jokers are the same thing. But let me just
Jim
ask
Zecca,
you.
Mike Hennessy, anybody that
Let me just, you don't stand up to me. You couldn't even get close to that.
I'm standing up to you right now.
Oh, you are. Boy, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Why? I'm told you could appeal again, and you're saying you're not going to do that. Why wouldn't you do that?
Bill, I told you at the beginning. Again, you're putting words into my mouth. I said you were looking at whether or not we're going to appeal.
You said, I don't know if I'm going to appeal. I'm just saying, why wouldn't you appeal?
I don't know, and you're saying, why don't you appeal?
I'm saying that
you
someone...
may get an appeal, Bill,
No, I'm
and
saying...
you'll be the first to know because Tony will call you.
Okay.
It's
See, you
kind
make...
of interesting. You're the only news outlet that's talked about the appeal.
Because and shame on the rest of them. And you make these accusations, Mike. You throw in little accusations like, well, you're going to get a call because you're on the inside, you're on the payroll. But but you're being mean to me. Woe is me. Cry a river, man. You don't have a chance.
Anybody that stands up, you take personal shots at, Bill.
No,
Bill,
you have to understand. Have you not heard the personal shots you've made against me this morning, or does that not get counted? That doesn't matter. You can take a personal shot.
Personal shots. I haven't made a personal shot at you, Bill.
You have not. You just said that I'm on the payroll. I'm on Tony Pacini's payroll. Tony's going to call me up and let me know. That's what you're telling me. That's not a personal shot?
Hey, Bill, your job is to beat me up today, and I'm not going to stand up to it any longer. If Jeff Malinsky has a question, I'll be more than happy to take it. I find it interesting he's sitting back and not saying anything.
Mike, that is an example of taking a shot. What you just did to
What do you
me
mean? Did I said I would take a question from Jeff Malinsky as a personal shot at you?
No,
he hasn't been able to speak yet, or I haven't heard his voice.
Go one
is he
thought.
In the studio?
Go a thought back. Go one thought back. Can you do that? You think you can do that?
Bill,
you don't even hear the shots and the insults you infer, but I'm okay with it. I can handle it. All I'm asking you is, why not just say I'm going to appeal? And listen, based on people we've spoken to, they say you're most likely going to get on the ballot. You will get on the ballot. I mean, I don't know why that's insulting. Why I'm being insulting to you there.
I don't take my decision making to that lowest level of getting secondary opinions from people that have no idea what the case is about. Okay?
Well, you're assuming that I don't know.
Yeah. Well, who is in the court would know?
Who's had another loss? Who's had loss after loss and didn't have his signatures accepted? I wouldn't be throwing stones at this point.
Bill, the signatures weren't accepted because they couldn't let them into court, as I explained, because she would have no other decision but to rule that we were good.
That was.
I am telling you that. I've experienced this 4 years ago with them.
So
we have a much better case this time than we did 4 years ago. And she wouldn't let me bring in witnesses. People that drove from work, from Shabani, one of them, all the way from down in Norwich area. I'm not sure if it's Delaware County, if it's Otsego County, but they made a real effort to be there.
You mean Shabani? Yeah. Listen, you're implying, though, that Judge Clark is corrupt. That's a pretty big accusation.
Listen, sir, as she said to me, she felt bad that she had made this decision because we've known each other so long. I'm not here to, argue about whether or not she made I'm here to argue that she didn't make the right decision. I'm not here to say that she's corrupt. You're just putting that word out there. Not me.
There is a conclusion only one could logically make. You said it's an unfair system. She made a decision that wasn't correct, and she did it to prevent you because if she decided to allow them in, she would have had to have accepted your signatures. How is anyone with a normal mind able to conclude anything other than you're saying she's corrupt?
Okay, I'm not going to use the word that she's corrupt, but you can take it to there, and you have. I'm not going to disagree with your assessment.
Okay, then just admit that that's what you're saying. You're implying she's corrupt. Just admit it. You've said it.
I don't think she's been corrupt. She's in her last year of being a solid judge in Oneida County and spent 20-some years. I'm not going to
Well, why would she cheat you out of this?
Corrupt.
Why would she cheat you out of this? Because you're implying that you've been cheated here.
it takes you there because the fact that I have the witnesses, the information that the Board of Elections was supposed to argue during the hearing that we never had. They never allowed us to bring up one thing. That'll be grounds for reversal. There's other things that were said in there. She made a mistake in allowing us to know that she knew for a while about what this new strategy was going to be, and didn't have the court inform us or the attorneys bringing this new argument into the courtroom. We didn't know about it, or my attorney didn't know about it until 11 p.m. the night before while he's getting ready to catch a train from New York City area up to Utica, New York. We had no time to react. I didn't know anything about it until I got there at 2:15 that they're bringing up this new issue. We'll let the appeals court decide if this was all proper and stuff. If we appeal, I'm just not here today ready to commit to an appeal effort.
All right, Manasseh.
And you're trying to say, if I hear that people think you have a great chance of reversing an appeal. I don't know if they know enough to be able to say that, number one. I have an attorney I paid for. I'll let him make that decision.
Well,
okay?
I'm glad you're assessing my statement, which is actually in your favor, but I'm pretty solid on my source that says you most likely would get back on once you get past the. That's
wrong. I'd have to come back to Oneida County Court. Okay.
I didn't say you didn't. What I'm saying is that once you get past this procedural issue, my source says you most likely will get on. I don't know what you're arguing about. You just seem to argue with everything I say. I'm going to ask you, do you have anything before I go to the next call?
I don't.
Okay. Stand by, Mike. Jacob I believe, works with your team. Mike?
What?
Jacob. You familiar with Jacob?
Yeah, Jacob works.
I'm on the line here.
He's now the campaign manager.
Okay, Jacob is your campaign manager. I was just wondering what the title was. Jacob, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. No, I just wanted to stress to you, everybody keeps talking about the condition of the signatures and things like that. This is coming from people all over the place, all walks of life and different health conditions, in the middle of the pouring rain, in the middle of wind and everything else going on. And I'm sorry, but the conditions are not ideal. And when we're dealing with this situation, it's impossible to have everybody's handwriting be perfect and, all little things. But we went through everything line by line, trying to figure out, exactly if we can match them up to an exact voter number. And I provided a bunch of voter numbers for the Board of Elections before they even did the hearing. And they didn't even do a hearing because basically we walked in and they accepted paperwork, said it was easy to follow, they appreciated it, and then they did nothing with it.
So what was because I've not been able to get an answer from Mike, who's still on the line, but what was the procedural issue that Judge Clark cited that disallowed you from being able to present your case to accept some 30 to 50 petition signatures?
I am so glad you asked that question. And the
I
reason
asked
why
it 10 minutes ago.
I was sitting in the hallway. I never even got to go in because I was a witness, and they wouldn't even let me in or let me witness.
Okay, but what have you heard the procedural issue is?
The decision he didn't hear about, okay?
Okay. Then, Mike, what was...
So the decision's based on a case called the Fukes, F-U-K-E-S decision in some other county, okay? And it requires that there be specs, the specs you provide the Board of Elections that you're contesting signatures that they're granting in, the ability to be easily read and understood. Ours were very easily understood. Jake was in the was part of the process with the local attorney that, or not attorney, but works in an attorney's office, and they did exactly what they did 4 years ago. Same people were involved in it, and the same courtroom, and they ruled that I was entitled to get back on the ballot. We brought the same stuff in, and they used an argument saying we had to be more specific.
Okay.
We couldn't have been any more specific, and it was not a complaint that the Board of Elections ever mentioned or brought up or put in writing during this earlier process. So this was something grabbed in the air and put on a piece of paper, and the judge ruled that they were right. I can't understand that how she can make that decision. Does that make her incompetent or corrupt? I can't say that, though. Okay?
Jacob, campaign manager.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yeah,
you know, you mentioned the conditions, the weather conditions, and, you know, having to get out early because the primary is in June. Now it's no longer in September. But everybody has the same playing field, don't they? I mean, and it's not just in this race. It's every race, every candidate who has to collect signatures.
Not at all, because you told me last time, woe is me.
Yeah,
but the whole thing about it is, it's a fact. You know, he has all the Republican committees. He has tons of people out there doing it. We have a small group of people that are volunteering, spending their time, you know, away from their families and trying to get this done. And you can say, woe is me if you want, which I'm sure you will.
You've
You
said
just,
it
you know,
twice,
calling him a baby and everything else.
Yeah. Well, I
But
feel
the
that
whole
way
but
only
the whole
because
fact is, I mean, like, name calling and all that doesn't change the fact that we were a small number, David and Goliath.
Okay, I understand, but I'm not comparing you to Goliath. I'm comparing you to every other candidate in Oneida County, in Herkimer County, in Madison County, at Seago, everywhere. They've all had to go out under the same conditions and get signatures. And
No,
they've
you're
been
missing the whole point. The
Okay,
point is,
all right.
it's not the weather, it's not the time period, it's the fact we brought legitimate signatures. And
I'm just
they were
commenting
ruled
on
out,
your
and then
campaign
we couldn't
manager's
get
comment. That's
a
all.
legitimate argument in front of the Board of Elections or this court to look at the signatures. That's the argument. We had
I know
good
that's the argument.
quality signatures of over 1,000. And no matter what you say about how terrible those signatures look, you never saw them. So
I haven't, and I never said I did. I said that
right,
I know
but you
some.
brought up that our signatures were terrible.
I am
earlier.
I am quoting someone who told me that I rely on.
Was it Tony Passanti or again?
Well, it wasn't. And Mike, I gotta say, if this display of this interview is a great example, it is a wonderful example of no. Just be fair with me. Just listen for a second. I am telling you, I have been eager all week long because when you come in with a preconceived idea that someone is out to get you, which you clearly have with me, I just cannot tell you how I kept asking Jeff all week long, are we going to get Hennessy? Is Mike coming on? Did I not? Did we not talk about it all week long? I am eager to see you, have you come on the air. I thought you were coming in studio today. Never had any ill thoughts, no plans to trip you up. I have been told by a source that is not with Passanti's camp that the signatures were a mess. And however, I've also been told that there were enough signatures that my source believed that you would be able to present that would allow you to get back on the ballot. Additionally, this was a procedural issue, and once you get through that, you'd be able to appeal again, and most likely you would end up on the ballot. But you came into this interview with a preconceived idea that I'm out to get you, that I'm out to hurt you, and none of that is true. And it became very. Let me just finish, and then I'll give you. I promise you.
Gordon and all that.
Dave Gordon is a deviant who did horrible things to me and other people. Do not use that as an example, Mike. Don't put yourself in that arena. You're not Dave Gordon, and do not.
You're the one that compared me to.
No, Mike. He's right here. Listen to this point. You keep bringing this up. He's right here.
I've never brought up Dave Gordon until you brought him up. So my point is,
I pointed up the fact that this county executive is always suing people because he has all these funds, and in this case, there were county funds that were used. Taxpayer money was used to bring in 2 attorneys from out of the area to bring up some kind of procedural reason why I shouldn't be on the ballot. The reason I should be on the ballot is, sir, is I have good 1,000 signatures.
I understand that.
Requirement.
I understand that, but you have to get through the procedure. You have to get through this process in order to be on the ballot. So the only thing I'm guilty of is saying that I have a source that's telling me that you have enough signatures to get it done, that you'll get through this procedural issue that you dealt with yesterday, and that you'll end up most likely being on the ballot. That's what I'm guilty of saying today, and you don't want to trust my source. I'm not revealing who that is anyway, but so be it.
Bill, if
feel
you
that way.
remember 4 years ago, you had a source call on the station saying that quantum computing was not a real thing. And
See,
he
this
was
is a
so-called expert. Well,
this
you know
is-
what, Bill?
Yeah. Yeah.
The president came into Poughkeepsie, New York, with IBM, announcing that they are advancing quantum computing.
I understand.
And in the next year, it'll be a fantastic thing. Program that'll be out there, private companies, money.
This
being
is
spent
this
on
is
something
why
that you should not have had that person on the air, Bill.
Okay,
That's
this
a grudge from the past, Bill, and that was all about. And
Mike.
then you never could find him, and now you don't know who he is. It was an inside job on me at that time, too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I called him up. I said, Mike's going to come in the studio. Mike's going to
Yeah,
mention
Bill,
quantum computers. No, let's get
you
this.
think-
No, let's figure this out, really. Let's look at your conspiracy. I call a guy. I have him call in about something I don't know you're going to say. Yep, you got it right, Mike. Is it possible that this is just a guy from Mohawk who called in and disagreed with you?
No, Bill, they didn't disagree. They're a so-called expert. As you
I'm just telling you, this person claimed to be an expert. They called in. This is
Well,
why
he
we're
was
going in circles
so
here.
Wrong,
I'm
Bill. And it's killed this local community because if we got that effort started 4 years ago, we might be a leader on it, especially with the Federal Institute is up at the airport on this.
Are you saying, because I want to understand this correctly, because right now we're putting on a display of how you would act and you would deal with people if you become county executive, and I think it's extremely telling. So we're going to you're saying to me right now that the interview that we had 4 years ago, and you mentioned quantum computing and said that what they were doing up at Wolf Speed was outdated and not good. We had a guy. Well, whatever you said. I mean,
You're making it up.
Apples and oranges. It doesn't even matter. But the point that I'm making is you're saying that my show, this radio program, had someone call in and it killed the entire possibility that this technology would advance in Oneida County. That's giving me a lot of power. It's amazing that we killed the project.
Bill, I could tell right then and there that this wasn't real, and that's why I didn't ask this guy anything more than answer your view of what he thought he knew. I didn't question that guy because I knew it was fake. I couldn't prove it then, and I still can't prove it today. But Bill, I didn't just
Jeff,
grow up yesterday. I was.
Do you remember when the guy called in?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his name was.
I don't remember what his name was. And I know...
You didn't ask him his name. You didn't get the information because I was contradicting what he was saying. You didn't want to have that debate.
All I'm telling you is the guy claimed he had knowledge, and he gave his opinion. And I do not know who he was.
Oh,
I don't...
If you had the tape... Do you have the tape of that show, Bill?
I'm sure I could find it somewhere.
Okay, let's get the tape because you were leading him on in your questioning, acting like he was some kind of scientist, and that he had some great knowledge that says that my idea was totally off the wall. Well, my idea is happening as we speak, and we should be on the ground level of it. We have a federal institute up at the base for quantum computing. So bottom line is,
the bottom line is you're making. We haven't lost out on that. It's only being developed at this point. In fact, if you really read stories about quantum computing, there are nations around the world, China, the United States and other nations are racing to become the leader in quantum computing, but they're not there yet. No nation has been able to accomplish that as of yet. But then again, I don't want to.
says that 2024 will be the year and the beginning of the real development of that
what
product.
does I guess
we should be working with IBM 4 years ago. I would have been, and it cost quality jobs. As I said before, you guys talk about technology from the past. We don't have those jobs here in Oneida County. We need to be a leader, not a follower in economic development.
All right, Jacob, do you want to add anything? Man, Jacob, you have your hands full with Mike. I mean, I don't know how you keep these conversations straight.
Well, here's my whole thing. I mean, personally, I did listen to everything that was said, both sides. But what I'll tell you is that, you know, I hate to tell you, Keeler, but I've seen several times where words were twisted. And I know he was trying to say, you know, we have enough signatures. We should have made the ballot. All this court nonsense, I get you say it's, you know, basically a constant thing. It's something that's whatever, part of the process. But the whole thing about it is somebody who doesn't have a lot of money to invest, okay, if let's say we get any Joe off the street and they try to run, or let's say I decided I wanted to run for county executive, okay, my family, there's no way we could afford to pay in court repetitively. Now, does that mean that I should not have a chance? But that's the thing. He's going to wind up putting everything he has into this just to try to get on the damn ballot so the people in Oneida County have a choice.
I hope there's a race.
My
thing
is I hope.
You feel that I have preconceived ideas and I'm out to get you guys today, and I just don't know that today, Jacob, I just got to tell you, I don't know that a decent display was put on today that makes Mike look better and qualified to be county executive. I think the opposite happened today, and people can judge for themselves, right? That's where my opinion or my voice is not going to change anybody's mind. But I appreciate it, Mike. I do appreciate it. I'm frustrated, but appreciate the fact that you come on. Jacob, thank you for calling in. Okay, I would say goodbye, but apparently no. Quickly, Ed, and then I got to move on. I'm going to Hiroshima. Ed on Mike, go ahead. Is this Ed on line one? I know that, Davey.
This is John Decker.
Oh, it's John. All right. So I've got lines all over the place. John, I'm coming right to you. Is this Ed?
This is Ed.
Okay, quickly, and I got to go to John Decker. Go ahead. I'll give you the last word.
Full disclosure, okay? First of all, sometimes I don't agree with you. Sometimes I feel like your side job gives you a little bit of opinion, maybe swayed a little bit. But
fair enough.
I will say that Mike Hennessy, if he is a professional and he's a candidate and went through this 4 years ago, he should know how to run a damn election. He should know how to get signatures, and he should know that some may get thrown out. So let's stay on the street a little bit longer. Let's stand in front of a supermarket. Let's get in front of a and get the signatures twice as much as you need. So if this comes up again, these guys don't know how to run a campaign. They are not professionals. And if I had my way, I wouldn't let him on the ballot because I don't think he has anything to offer. I don't always agree with Pacente either. I think there's some things we should have fought harder for. I think the parking garage was designed improperly. It blocks a portion of the hospital, which is supposed to be a site that you're supposed to be able to see from Route 12, from everywhere, and I think it blocks some of it. But Mike Hennessy does not know how to run a campaign. He is not a professional candidate, and he will not get my vote at all.
All right, Ed. Thank you. I appreciate it. And, Ed, could you confirm I didn't call you to have you call in? Could you just confirm that?
You didn't call me. I called because I couldn't take his excuses as a professional candidate, and knowing that he went to court 4 years ago over the same thing, he should do it and do it right. So,
Thank you.
know, I don't have any compassion for somebody that can't do their job right as a professional.
Ed,
so
have a great
he
day.
shouldn't be a candidate.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I want to go to someone who's calling in all the way from Hiroshima, John Decker. This is not local politics, but this is the world we're dealing with here. John, good morning. You know, I always get you, John, right at the end of the program where I'm getting yelled at for something and some controversy. But good morning, John Decker. John is the chief White House correspondent for Great TV and is currently in Hiroshima. I've seen some of the photos, John. Wow, this is an impressive trip you're in the midst of.
Well, that's right. This is an historic city, and
what did he say?
Prime Minister Kishida of Japan he chooses which city in his country the G7 will take place, and he chose the historic city of Hiroshima. And this is a 3-day summit. President Biden arriving just a few hours ago, already having a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Kishida, also meeting with U.S. troops at a Marine Corps base here in Japan, and then full day on tap for the president and other G7 leaders as this summit gets underway.
So, what do we learn? What are we learning from this? The world is in a pretty tough place right now. We're in a very unstable point around the world. What are we learning?
It is unstable, and it's unstable, I think, because of two countries in particular, Russia and China, and that's the focus of the G7. For Russia, it's the war in Ukraine. The U.S. and our G7 allies will continue to support Ukraine militarily. They'll make that commitment here at the G7 15 months after the war was begun by Russia with their illegal invasion of a sovereign country. And also China. China is a bad actor, Bill. You know that. Economically and also in trade policy, they block U.S. companies from doing business in China. They steal our intellectual property. So that, too, is on the agenda during the course of the summit. And then other issues like energy security, climate, the transition to a green economy, that is a major issue, not only for the U.S., but for the other G7 countries taking part in this summit here in Hiroshima.
You know, it's interesting when we talk about not being able to trust these two countries, in particular when it comes to the world finances and the economies around the world. But then, we're dealt with this new topic of artificial intelligence. And, all right, we're all going to take a break. We're all going to step back and take a pause before this thing gets out of control. But how do you trust a China and a Russia at this point to follow suit?
Well, I think one of the ways that you try to build trust is through diplomacy, having contact with those countries. But, having said that, I think it's safe to say that U.S. relations with both Russia and China are at a real low point. I don't think we've seen such a low point, and in fact, I asked that very question to the spokesman for the National Security Council, John Kirby. I did an hour-long interview with him earlier this week, and he agreed that relations between the U.S. and Russia, between the U.S. and China, are at a very low point. You build that trust through continued conversations. The last time President Biden met face-to-face with President Putin was in Geneva, his first year in office. I was at that summit, but they haven't met face-to-face since that period of time. And, similarly, the president and President Xi do not speak that often. They met during the G20 summit that happened in Bali, Indonesia. I was with President Biden for that summit as well. I think talk is important. Discussions are important, and that's a big part of this process.
Boy, I was going to ask you about nuclear weapons, but I know you got to be on a hard out at 59, and we're coming up on that. John, we appreciate you taking the time to call us from Hiroshima. Safe travels, and we'll talk to you next week.
I look forward to it. Thanks so much, Bill. Talk to you then. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You do the same. John Decker, who is the chief White House correspondent from Gray TV. It is a pleasure to be able to have him reach out to us from wherever he goes around the world. Mm-hmm. Jeff, I have 45 seconds. You want to decompress?
Do you want to decompress?
Holy moly.
I've been over here stretching. I got my morning reading in. I did a couple laps around the building. You kidding me? I got a head start on today.
We will be, despite all of this, we will be back tomorrow. And I just want you to know that, and Jeff certainly can confirm, no preconceived ideas on, I mean, technically, I've always said this, technically, for the work that I do in commercials, when someone has a race, that's when I make money. So if you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can.
God. I got to go. Back tomorrow. WIBX, Utica, Rome.
House Republicans take aim at the FBI.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The leadership in the FBI is politically corrupt.
Congresswoman Harriet Hageman says they have 3 FBI whistleblowers ready to testify at a hearing this hour as Republicans probe what they call the weaponization of the federal government.
The whistleblowers we will be hearing from today have identified and described egregious abuse, misallocation of law enforcement resources, and misconduct within the leadership ranks of the FBI.
Now, the FBI tells Fox 2 of the 3 whistleblowers were agents who had security clearances revoked, accused of hindering investigations and espousing alternative theories to what happened on January 6, 2021 during the Capitol riot. It's only morning, but President Biden might be sleepy. It's 10 p.m. where he is in Hiroshima, Japan, where he just met with the Prime Minister.
We stand up for the shared values, including supporting the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereign territory.
Now, Russia's war on Ukraine will be a big topic for G7 world leaders at their upcoming summit in Japan. Russia launched another barrage of missiles overnight, but Ukraine says it shot down 29 of the 30. The one that got through hit Odessa, killing at least 1 person, though Russia claims its high-precision missiles hit Ukrainian military targets. Montana is the first state to ban the social media app TikTok. Republican Governor Greg Gianforte says they did it
to protect Montanans' personal and private data from the Chinese Communist Party. From December to now, the restriction was only on government devices. The law will prohibit any downloads and fine any entity that allows it $10,000 per day. Users would not face fines.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis may be ready to run for president. The Wall Street Journal reports he'll join the Republican race as soon as next week. DeSantis has been a distant second in many polls to former President Trump. An update on unemployment, a decline in first-time jobless claims last week. America's listening to Fox News.
The internet can be an all-you-can-eat buffet for identity thieves.
So full.
Too many maiden names.
And social security numbers.
Where'd you find those?
By the password bar. Can't miss them.
LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss by monitoring your credit and bank statements. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation's Let Us Do Good Village in Land O'Lakes, Florida, is a community that will have about 100 homes for the Foundation's program participants. 2 families have already moved in. A Gold Star family and the family of a severely injured veteran moved into the community's first smart home. It's a special place where together families can heal. Make the Let Us Do Good Village the first of many communities like it. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
You're invited to the 2023 Glimmerglass Festival, the world-renowned summer opera and musical theater festival located just minutes from Cooperstown. Glimmerglass has been presenting innovative, rare, and familiar works of opera and classic Broadway for nearly 50 years in a summer-long celebration of the arts that's an easy day trip from anywhere in the Mohawk Valley. This year's festival runs July 7th through August 20th, with productions that speak to the aspirations, curiosity, and passions of growing up, and what can happen when life doesn't always play along. Purchase tickets today for Puccini's La Boheme, Bernstein's Candide, Gounod's Romeo and Juliet, Handel's Rinaldo, and a world premiere youth opera. Learn more at glimmerglass.org. The Glimmerglass Festival, a highlight of your summer experiences in the Cooperstown region. Hiking, kayaking, picnicking, museums, and world-class opera and musical theater. Truly a one-of-a-kind summer destination and just a short drive from anywhere in the Mohawk Valley. Join us and see for yourself why there's no place quite like Glimmerglass.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
For over 70 years, the Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties has worked to build a vibrant region with opportunity for all. We're dedicated to meeting community needs through immediate and long-term investments. With donor support, our nonprofit partners create lasting impacts that will continue to change lives for the better for years to come. Find out more online at foundationhoc.org. We're your community foundation.
The 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market on Friday, May 19th and Saturday, May 20th will be at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds in Frankfort. You can find all kinds of hunting and sportsman supplies, ammo, bows, fishing gear, tanned furs, antiques, wildlife, photographs, wood crafts, leather goods, gorgeous gifts, flea market treasures, food trucks, and more at the 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market. The 2023 Gun and Sportsman Show with Craft and Flea Market on Friday, May 19th and Saturday, May 20th at the Herkimer County Fairgrounds benefits conservation education and is sponsored by the NYS Trappers Association. Vendor booths are available for the event. To reserve yours, contact Bill Swagler at 607-222-8554 or at nystaconvention@gmail.com. Admission is only $10 per person. Kids 10 and under are free. On Saturday, military is free with ID.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first